you're ace. You don't change. You got to make sure you're making your plays, but your defensemen still have to be active. As you broke down beautifully, you got to continue to do that. Mac more in the first period, their best players. You can't sit back and allow the Florida Panthers to bring the game to you. You're going to be on your toes, Biz, and continually try to pressure them and try to force them to make mistakes. I would just say high percentage plays. We've seen a few tough blunders in this playoffs. I go back to Sandberg for Winnipeg in that game 3. Hallmark in this one where he could have just went up the forehand, decided to go backhand. Just strong plays. If you don't have that a clear direct pass, use the wall. Win the battle there, live the fight another day. That's my only opinion.
You got to be disciplined.
Yeah,
obviously.
What's going on, everybody? John out here with you. I'm going to be joined by Cooper Hopkins in a moment, maybe just a little bit after, maybe 15 minutes. It's going to be a little bit of a pivot here because I know we're going to have Kraken-Avalanche at 9:40 Eastern, but we will be able to carry a little bit of this OT. We'll see what he wants to do there. Florida has just tied this up in the final minute and went across the TNT score chyron before we even saw it live. But let me give you the particulars for our game upcoming here for the Seattle Kraken and the Kraken-Avalanche. So, starting lineup for Dave Hakstol's squad with Matty Beniers, Ty Cartier, Jordan Eberle with Vince Dunn and Adam Larsson, Alex Wemberg, Jaden Schultz, Morgan Geekie with Jamie Alexiak and Will Borgen, Yanni Gourde, Ellie Tolvanen and Oliver Bjorkstrand with Ryan Donato, Brandon Tanev and Daniel Sprong, Carson Soucy and Justin Schultz for the back-end defense with Philip Grubauer in net. For the Colorado Avalanche, it sounds like this per usual for Jared Bednar's squad. Nathan MacKinnon, Artturi, Lehkonen, Mikko, Rantanen with Devon and Cale Makar. Lars Zeller, Evan Rodriguez, JT Compher with Jack Johnson, Bo and Byram. Alex Newhook, Matt Nieto, Logan O'Connor with Sam Girard and Eric Johnson, Ben Myers, Brad Hunt, and Dennis Mulligan will be the fourth line side with Alexander Georgiev in net. So we have a couple of Game 7s. In fact, we had 3 Game 7s if you want to count the NBA side with the Warriors that would dispatch the Kings. They weren't able to light the beam at the Golden One Center. But let me give you the recap as far as the series is concerned while we're waiting. So Game 1, Seattle won 3-1. It was Tolvanen and Wemberg Geekie were able to get a goal. Grubauer was outstanding as he stopped 34-35. Mikko Rantanen scored the lone goal for Colorado in Game 1. Seattle took it 3-1. Colorado answered 3-2 win. Seattle raced out to a 2-0 lead, and again, that's a theme in this series. First line, Schultz, even strength goal, and Tanev shorthanded. Colorado answered with Mikko Rantanen, Lehkonen, and Nichushkin able to get that done. Third period, Devon goal and assist for the game winner, 12:59. We're wondering if the Avs found it. They came back, Game 3, won 6-4. Seattle scored the first goal of the game again as Jaden Schwartz got a tip. Compher with a shorthanded goal up a forehand backhand move. McCann scored on a breakaway. That was when we covered in Game 3 with Alec Nava. Super speed the other way. Cale Makar made it 3-1 with a perfectly placed slapper. Kraken responded with 2 goals in 19 seconds before Alexiak turnstile Rantanen and Beniers scored off a secondary rebound. McKinnon, Shaw, and Rantanen, they finished it off to win 6-4 in Game 3. Seattle bounced back with a 3-2. Makar got a nasty hit on Jared McCann. He was suspended for the following game. Morgan and Sprong scored. There was a penalty the other way. McCann didn't return. We knew he was going to be out for Game 5. Avalanche tied Mikko Rantanen. He had his 5th in the series. 14-08 on a great passing play in Game 4. As that continued, 19-10 was a snipe from the left dot and an overtime shot block. Ended up getting a rebound and scoring again. So that's a little bit of a recap. Seattle won 3-2 in the previous game. That's when Cooper and I covered. Again, Seattle jumped out to the lead. And without Cale Makar, there was a press at the end for Colorado, but they couldn't win it 3-2. But when they got Cale back in Game 6, it was all Colorado. That was the definitive game of the series where they won 4-1. Vince Dunn opened the scoring again. Of note, Seattle scored first in every single game in this series. That's 6 times in a row. Rantanen got his 6. Johnson, Lehkonen had 2. And Seattle was outshot 38-23. Eberle got a questionable hit on Cogliano over the broken neck. He got nothing on that side for the disciplinary committee. So I understand why the Avs fans would be a little bit upset about that. Ball Arena should be jumping here for Game 7, and Cooper Hopkins will be with me on that call. So as this is fluttered through across the blue line, again, we'll be flipping over to True TV. We're able to carry this over for about 10 minutes. There's a drive to the net, and a shot goes wide. That was Pasternak. That sent it in the left side post. So let me pull up the Bruins depth chart here on the Florida side before we end up moving over to give you this live call. I know Alec, Nava, and Ian are in on that side. As this is hit the other way, this will be offside. Was looked around and got smoked. 19-27 in this OT. Again, this is not our featured game, but we do have to cover this because this is a Game 7 on that end. I know everybody's going to be following along. And the other day, it was Toronto exercising their demons. They took out the Tampa Bay Lightning, and they were chanting, "We want Florida." Who knows what's going to end up happening with that side, because Florida has given Boston everything in this series. And here's the potential situation. You already beat Boston twice in the regular season. Look, I understand it's Atlantic Division side, and you beat 4 times. But if Florida does win this series, and this is the actual notes, Florida does win this series, according to 2 in regulation, it could be 6 victories over Boston in a given calendar year. And I think they're going to take the drill and they're going to get some repairs here for Bobrovsky's side of the crease, as if things couldn't get any more nutty. Again, it was a score in the final minute of the third that tied this one at 3. And now we're going to have to take an extra beat to make sure we get the repairs and behind the net. So let me just pull this up. We'll give you a quick reset because, again, I had double duty here today for the Waterford Sharks and now for Seattle Kraken, Colorado Avalanche. So I'm just getting brushed up because I just checked into this about an hour ago. But it was, in the first period, it was Brandon Montour, this fourth in the power play from Anton Lundell, and Sergei Bobrovsky got an apple. In the second period, it was sort of a 2-0 lead. Sam Reinhart from Listerine and Lundell. Lundell already a couple points. David Krejci answered on the power play to make sure that Boston didn't go down by 3. It was a 2-1 score with Krejci with his first from Orlov and Zacha. Tyler Bertuzzi on the power play, man, he's been really good. His 5th from Orlov and Krejci with 55 seconds in the third. Then it was a 3-2 lead for Boston. It was Pasta from Carlo and Krejci at 4:11 in the final minute. Montour, the second of the game, from Barkov and Verhaeghe, tied the game at 3. We're just underway here in the OT of Game 7. We have 2 Game 7s on the NHL side. Again, the third Game 7 I'm referencing is the NBA side between the Warriors and Kings, as Steph Curry dropped a 50-piece. So there's been a lot going on in today's slate of games. I will be with you in entirety on this side between Seattle and Colorado. We'll get that flipped over when that happens. I know it's coming up on True TV, and Cooper Hopkins will join me. Tomorrow, officially, I'll be, I believe, on my own between the Rangers and the Devils. And that will be Game 7 Monday, about 8:15 Eastern on that side. And then there'll be a couple off days because I've been having a lot of broadcasts trying to get 2 done in one day here. As this is picked up across the red line now, played in off the backhand. Florida with it as they'll drop it there for Gudis. And that was deflected. And Tkachuk trying to make a diving play. As this is a nice windmill here for Pavel Zacha. It gets poked off the stick. Here's a breakaway for Matthew Tkachuk. Oh, it was stopped by Swayman. That would have won the series for Florida. And they have it now toward the right side dot. This is wrapped around the net. Again, this is a live look in between Florida and Boston. And now here's a combo play for Tyler Bertuzzi off the drop pass. Trying to locate it here for Marchand as it's Gudis skating his way in. Now set up here for Nick Cousins into the deflection. Trying to tap this out of the air was Bennett. And this is now with Boston. Settle it back down is Krejci. Again, the heart rate is a little bit elevated, you imagine, between all of these fans. It's just a trip against the Toronto Maple Leafs on the line. Boston Bruins have been the historical best regular season team, and they've been pushed to the brink. Ekblad as it's sticked away from him, but this will be dumped back in across the red line. And we get a hand in the air and offsides with 18:09 left to go in this OT. So again, this is our featured game, the Kraken and the Avalanche. We're waiting for the puck drop side. Going to give this about a couple more minutes, and then we'll jump in. I may miss a minute here or two as I'm waiting for Cooper Hopkins. This is going to flip in on True TV, and then when this goes back, I think it goes back to TNT side. But it's going to go as long as it takes. But Chuck looking at the mouthpiece and on the iPad side, and he knew that he was very close. And Jeremy Swayman, I mentioned this in the particulars for the capsules in the sense of, look, you have 2 goaltenders that you can go to in the situation if things get ugly with Ullmark. You might be battling a little bit of injuries, no problem. Insert Swayman. They're in the middle of the Game 7. You get your first playoff experience as they show Tkachuk's time on ice at 22.42. Played a lot of extra minutes, and it's going to be extended even more as this is in Florida's defensive end. Get this off the backhand. Listerine trying to get this now on the right side wall. And this is flipped across the red line. Sam Reinhart trying to get a couple stick checks in there with Matt Grzelcyk. Is Grzelcyk able to knock it away? He's going to get back into the defensive end, but I think this goes in the player's bench. was 17:44. So I will be joined by Cooper Hopkins. Again, this is just a little live look-in between the Florida Panthers and the Boston Bruins before we switch over here to the Kraken and the Avalanche. Again, a couple of Game 7s on the line, and everyone is bated breath on that side, so I will give this a couple minutes and then flip back over. Again, no commercial breaks. You only get the momentary ice scrapages of the OT. So when we do get anything that's situated, we will move that across to you. And now the Bees have it into the neutral zone draw. It's Marchand and toward the blue side. And this is picked up now. This is going to be a race for the puck. This is going to allow Boston to get a hold of this near the right side of the red line as this is recollected. Bees will put this in deep. Now Bertuzzi in on the cycle. As this goes, and this can't be kept across the blue line. When we get any sort of stoppage there, I'll move back over into our featured contest. As this is Florida. Nice diving play. That was Bennett. Now Anthony Duclair. Oh, it's a good save by Swayman with the left stick. A couple of these already in the OT. Florida has certainly had their chances. As this is bounced out here for Ekblad. We'll throw this across the embroiled B. And Verhaeghe takes a hit. He's taken out through the neutral zone now. As this is just flipped into the bench. So I'm going to flip over to True TV right now to get this all situated, and I will get Cooper Hopkins in here. I was just giving you a little bit of the live look-in, but let me get Cooper Hopkins in. Swayman already with a couple of massive saves that kept it tied. One was on Tkachuk, one was on Verhaeghe there. We got 19:05 left to go here in our first. And again, in certain situations where this game should end before the other, we will certainly give you the live updates as this is put in. And now a shot the other way for Schultz as this gets knocked away and sent in deep. So we are now back with our featured contest in between Seattle and Colorado. Cooper knows we're going to have a lot to look into today. How about double Game 7s and also one in the NBA? It's 2 chances to nothing as Wenberg trying to get around Byram. And this is picked up by the Avs. They're going to be going right to left. And now Seattle left to right. Against Seattle in the road jersey. They got the road whites with the black pants. And you got the cerulean and maroon, typical for the Colorado Avalanche. I know Cooper's going to be helping me here with Central with the second period. I don't know if I can keep the pipes going the whole way, but we will do the best that we can here with Sam Girard. Is Turbo able to throw a hit, and every time Cale Makar touches the puck, you might get a you're going to get some cheers here at Ball Arena, but there's going to be some reactionary Seattle fans, I imagine. Ty Cartier turns 22 today. Again, made sure I mentioned that in the story. When Cooper and I covered the previous game on that side for 5, he scored a ridiculous goal. As this is intercepted now, Byram's going to send this across. This is touch with the stick of Grubauer and a couple backhanded moves the other way as Seattle try to get this ahead for Daniel Sprong, part of the 4th line out there for Dave Hakstol's squad, as I will reverse my lineups. And this is sent in through the middle of the neutral zone. And this could have been a break for Seattle. Essentially, they had extra men, but not to be. As this is put in toward Rantanen. And he wired that off the left side of the crossbar, but almost hit the window and knocked Sprong's helmet right off his head. As this is set now, 7:20 left to go in the first. John here with you alongside Cooper Hopkins, and we will get his thoughts momentarily. We are keeping the eyes on ears in all these scores as it's sent across for MacKinnon. He just puts it to the right side boards, and this will be collected here for Wenberg. And now it's a 2-on-2 developing. As this is a great play toward the right side wall. It's going to allow Seattle to just dump this thing in deep. Will Borgen will take a look at it. As this is sent behind the net, Will Borgen skated back just a little bit too far. And we'll see if Colorado can actually move this into their own end. No, they can't. 192nd Game 7. And this one falls back to Grubauer. He makes the save. Cooper, this is a big night all the way across the board, my friend.
Yeah, John, as ever, it is excellent to be along with you, and thank you for getting us going here. I know that you were taking a peek over at what seems to be shaping up to be almost an instant classic in Boston. Still 3-3 with about 5 minutes gone in overtime there. In that Game 7, we've got this Game 7 between the second-year franchise Seattle Kraken and the defending Stanley Cup champion Colorado Avalanche. And then, yeah, not to mention in round ball today, Warriors, they took care of business against the Sacramento Kings. Made that look pretty easy, and Steph Curry with a historic performance himself. One of the highest scoring Game 7s for an individual in NBA history.
Yeah, he dropped 50 as this is a face-off win that's picked up here by the Avalanche. We have the left side dot, so we will certainly have a lot of news and notes to get to. We are keeping track of that scoring tracker on the right side of the screen as this falls back to Grubauer. We're on True TV right now. We might have to flip the TNT as we get some pushing and shoving. J.D. Alexiak getting some serious left-handers in there, and the ref didn't take too long to separate that. Logan O'Connor was getting fed his lunch.
Yeah, John, boy, 24 in white, 25 in maroon right there. And you see Jimmy Alexiak, he is standing his ground, and that's an understatement. I'm curious to see how quickly, obviously we're just a few minutes in here, but how quickly things will escalate because let's not forget a couple nights ago that hit from Eberle against, and boy, John, it's just escaping me right now, the injured
Andrew Cogliano.
Thank you very much. Yeah, he went down and had a very serious injury to his neck, and I know that the blood of both of these teams is starting to boil here, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was interesting the other way as Eberle didn't even get a bat an eye on that side. No game or anything else from Cale Makar got one. That's certainly a contentious talking point among fan bases as this is flipped now across the Avalanche logo. Sam Girard with a little bit of a sweep. And Seattle will do the same. Again, it's still Grubauer and Georgiev. It's been the same goaltender all the way across the board. The reason I bring that up, it's not the same in Boston. Jeremy Swayman getting a taste of his first ever Game 7 as Nieto gets brushed aside the puck now. That one's still 3-3. Our game scoreless with 15:50 left to go in the first. So we'll make sure we keep updates on that as this is Alexiak played in off the backhand. And now Seattle gaining across the red line. And they'll flip it in. Georgiev will play this with the goal stick and leave it here for Johnson. Johnson now try to quickly send this the other way here for Colorado. You wonder where the nerves are going to be. And again, Cooper, I'm just going to say this out loud. I think for Seattle, I don't even think you really feel any nerves at this point. You're just kind of letting the winds of fate take you here against the defending Stanley Cup champions, and you see where the chips are going to fall. That's certainly how I'm feeling about it. Ty Cartier in between a couple of skate blades, and this will go now here for Hunt on the fourth line side, and this is a bank pass as Mulligan will spin. He's sitting on the fourth line now. There's a little bit of line adjustment here for Jared Bednar squad. Schultz gain the red line now. Georgiev will play. 15 minutes left to go in this first period. It's scoreless here. Seattle has scored first in all 6 games in this series, and dare I say it, they might need to make it a 7. As this is Yanni Gourde off the backhand. Short side chance was off the outside of the cage. Oliver Bjorkstrand now will spin as this is recollected here. Now Seattle will fire it right on. This goes toward the right side wall. Colorado might be able to go right to left here. In full flight, it's Nathan MacKinnon. Boy, has he been an absolute wonder alongside Mikko Rantanen. It's the top-tier talent that's getting the job done right now for the Avalanche. That's single-handedly got them in this Game 7. Bjorkstrand off the right glove of Georgiev. As this is sent onto the left side red line, as it's going to be kept in, it's fluttered in toward the right side wall, where Bjorkstrand continues to get punished. He's just trying to move this puck back around the other side. Turbo, take a look at it, but this goes up in the netting.
Yeah, John, let's take a quick glance back to TBS here. We have 12:41 remaining in overtime, 36 shots now for the Boston Bruins, 30 for the Florida Panthers. And let's not forget what you mentioned in brief, that boy, a couple of absolutely grade A golden chances for the Panthers to win this series, including by none other than Matthew Tkachuk on a breakaway. He gets stoned. And so we are still tied 3-3 here in Game 7. And, of course, we'll keep checking in as we continue our featured game between the Kraken and the Avs.
Thank you for that, Cooper. Again, I'm very happy to have you along because we're going to be pulling double duty on both sides. Again, I think that's our due diligence to do that today. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And, of course, back here on the True TV side, we see that close-up shot of Nathan MacKinnon, and that is testament to what you were just talking about. He and Rantanen have really been driving the play here for the home squad. I expect that to stay the same. I know you do as well. Let's see if the Kraken can push back with that group effort as we've seen throughout the series.
Yeah, they're going to need to. Again, as they talked about it at one point, it was 15 goals by 17 different players on that side. That's an actual stat. And that's what the Seattle Kraken have been able to provide. Here's a bad turnover. Donato with the spin as this gets sent the other way. This is quickly erased to the left side of the red line. And Lars Eller will just dump this one in as Donato had a chance off the backhand. It's back to the fourth line for Dave Hakstol's squad as Turbo trying to help out against Evan Rodriguez that threw that hit. And Colorado will move this D to D. Waiting toward the middle of the slot now, Evan Rodriguez. He got the cheeky double deflection goal off the jersey of Alexiak in the game that we did in the Game 5 side. We're in Game 7 now. 13:25 left to go in the first. We are scoreless. It's 3-1. This kind of feels like the opening to Game 6, does it not? A low amount of shot totals here, as Seattle scored the first before it was able to actually get a 3-2 win at the very end of it. There was a chance that was rushed all the way down the middle of the ice that was just shot wide somehow between the left side of the red line and tried to be cleared out by the Kraken. Stolen again. Nieto trying to set this up for a bomb, and Grubauer saw it all the way. He tracked it well.
Yeah, and boy, that could have been a disaster for Seattle right there. But Alex Newhook could not take advantage of one of the Kraken defenders actually blowing a tire in his own zone. He went sliding toward the far half boards. Newhook basically had an open lane right there. He went wide of the net. And then on that most recent shot, great glove save. Pretty standard fare right there for Grubauer, who, again, John, I know we mentioned this last time we worked together, but he has found that extra gear and really made some beautiful stops in this series.
Yes, he has. And Florida has upset the Boston Bruins. They're going to be playing the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh, my goodness, John. As soon as I heard that tone of voice from you, I flipped it over, and the celebration is underway, and it is not the team in black and gold. It is the Florida Panthers in their road whites with a huge upset of the President's Trophy winners. And that curse, John, now, the President's Trophy winner has lasted a decade. Every single President's Trophy winner, John, has not even made the Stanley Cup final in that period of time. 4-3, your final from TD Garden on their 31st shot of the night. It's the Panthers taking Game 7, a massive, massive upset. The Bruins are out.
Carter Verhaeghe at 8:35 with his second from Bennett and Tkachuk. I'm going to keep this on for an extra minute, Cooper, before we flip back over, because I just want to see the handshake line, and I just want to see any kind of replay that we can get. But I'm going to tell you this right now, my friend. It was the best team ever in the regular season in the Boston Bruins. And make no mistake about it, the Florida Panthers this season have beaten them 6 times. What book do they have on Boston? That's incredible. I can't believe it. As we are sitting here right now, I know Cooper's on mute. I want to get his thoughts to that question in a moment on that side. Recco Gudis out there with McAvoy. I mean, this was a minute left to go. Again, as we talked about it, Brandon Montour ties it up. Carter Verhaeghe finishes at 8:35 in the OT. But how did Florida do this 6 times in one calendar year to Boston?
Yeah, I don't know, John. In my excitement, I double tapped that mute button there. I'm a little excited as the Florida Panthers undoubtedly are as well. But my goodness, 20 wins of all types, 20 losses of all types in the regular season for the Bruins. 5 of those to the Panthers, so 25% of their losses to one team. And then when it comes down to it, a huge Game 7 disappointment. The fans at TD Garden in Boston are stunned right now. Absolute silence as Stahl, Bobrovsky, Verhaeghe, Tkachuk make their way back down to the room where they will be celebrating. Moving on to round 2. This is incredible stuff, John. Makes me think, since we're going to cover Seattle here, continue their coverage between the Kraken and the Avalanche, that 116-win 0-1 team that the Seattle Mariners had, they couldn't even make it to the World Series that year. It's just sometimes you have it in the regular season, and when the postseason comes around, it's a different story.
And I'm going to flip back over here. I know that they're going to flip back over on the TNT side from True TV. But you're right, and I'm thinking about this too. I just really can't believe it. It might have taken me an extra beat to get my thoughts ahead of me, but I'm just going to go ahead and give you this call here at 11:45. We'll go ahead and get my thoughts together, because I did have a question, but it's escaping right now, and the pure amazement is Evan Rodriguez. We'll flip this back now here for Johnson as Colorado trying to keep this alive. It's Nieto. Slot Rodriguez. Good opportunity, but he fired it wide. And this is recollected now by Seattle. Seattle on the left side of the red line. They will gain the entry. It's Matty Beniers. Again, you think about the Calder standing for Matty. He's had a pretty good series, but it has all of the Kraken. This is a long shot. This is held. Georgiev had to fight it off a couple of hits. Colorado wanted to play it, but it's blown dead. But I think, Cooper, honestly, this might be the most, not just because how good Boston is, it's got to be one of the biggest upsets of all time. I know that Florida won the President's Trophy last year, but it's not the same team. And for all the Toronto fans that were chanting, "We want Boston," do they really want to play Florida?
Yeah, I will say this, not the way that Matthew Tkachuk and Sam Bennett are playing right now, because you know what? Those are two names that I'm, of course, very familiar with. You are as well. Two former Calgary Flames. They combined behind the net to retain possession while being checked by multiple Bruins. Matthew Tkachuk digs the puck out from the trapezoid. Sam Bennett to the left post is able to chip it back out to Verhaeghe, who's in the faceoff circle at the dot. He fires an absolute laser, and the reason why it wasn't saved is because Matthew Tkachuk had stepped out in front and he created a screen. So number 19 not only gets the assist but makes a huge play on both sides of that thing, John. And it's bittersweet for me, as I know we're still underneath the action here at Ball Arena. But I just wanted to give you that recap. It was Tkachuk and Bennett as wow. Grubauer makes a stick save off of the stick shaft right there. And we're getting a close-up of that thing. There's been some controversy about goalie sticks over the past couple of days.
Yes, there has, and I really appreciate that recap, because when I think about it the other way, Steve Yzerman sent Tyler Bertuzzi to Boston for a first-round pick for next year, and he's already sitting home, and you didn't even expect that. And he had a great playoff series. So I flip back over to the TNT side. So the True TV coverage is done. This is in the high slot now for Toews, and this will be an extra pass from Makar as this puck is just continually being rattled around. This is recollected by Colorado, but cleared into the players' bench to get a stoppage with 10:37.
Yeah, and you know what? Seattle continues to do it by committee. A great job right there. Will Borgen goes down on a knee right there. Defender for Seattle. He got a block on that most recent shot attempt, and then the puck, as you noted, was cleared out into the players' bench. So, yep, just over 10 minutes to go here in the first, and these teams have had a couple of decent chances apiece. But it's very familiar, John. They seem to still be feeling each other out just a touch.
Yes, they are. And again, I can't get out of the back of my mind of just what we watched. And if Seattle can win this one, we could have a playoff series here, Cooper, in the first round where Boston exits, Colorado exits, and Tampa is already done. As this is a race for the puck, and this is just kept out there by Newhook. Good save by Grubauer. But it's absolutely crazy what's been happening.
Yeah, I don't want to go full bore yet and say that it's a changing of the guard, because Tampa Bay is still very, very strong in their series, but the Maple Leafs took care of business. Obviously, the Avalanche here have dug themselves out of what seemed like a pretty, not a deep hole, but Seattle definitely had the chokehold on that series at 3-2. And of course, the Avalanche have battled back here. And so a lot of these teams that we're familiar with making deep runs, they still have the opportunity to, but tonight is going to determine a lot of that. And of course, the Panthers win. That is the highlight of the evening so far. Can the Kraken match it is the question.
Yeah, that's the only thing bigger right now. It would be the number one and number two as far as shock value, as far as upsets. I said in the first that it would be a 6-game series at most, and Boston wouldn't lose in the first round, but brackets are busted. It happened, as this is picked up now off the skate plate, and this will allow Sam Girard to go ahead and get to it, as Colorado will try to move this right to left, as this is a chance for Newhook, and it's sent the other way off the turnover, and this will be Matty Beniers. So backhand this in deep, and this will allow a couple players to come together there with Ty Cartier. We'll see if the 22-year-old can get another big-time goal, as this is dropped in there by Eller, looking for the pass that gets deflected. This bounces off of Eberle on the first line for Hakstol's squad, and just kept in stutter step. Cale Makar, who certainly got the dancing shoes on. Grubauer makes a big save, but he also got blasted as he saved it with the right glove.
Yeah, that was a fantastic snare with the leather right there. And Eller runs into him in the crease right there. And now players are coming together. I know.
You might have lost Cooper there for a second. So I'm just going to go ahead and mute on that side. Yeah, it was a big-time hit. We got everything squared away now. And we get a stoppage with 9:31 left to go in the first. As I think the audio went a little haywire, but I think we're going to be good now. So I think we should be good now. I think the audio might have just cut out there for a second, but go ahead if I got you back.
Yeah, no, apologies, guys. I'm good for I'm good for a little bit of a technical difficulty, but yeah, I think the media timeout is well timed here, because players need to take a quick breath. The physicality has ramped up as expected. I mean, it is playoff hockey after all. and both of these teams so badly want this win for very different reasons, John. The Stanley Cup champs wanted to go back-to-back, and the upstart Kraken wanted to get into the second round for the first time ever. And this, of course, their first Game 7 in a playoff series in their history. It's big stuff tonight.
Yeah, we will have a lot to talk about as well for the intermission side of it, because these two teams, whoever wins, they're going to be playing the Dallas Stars, and they've shown themselves out quite well against Minnesota. They found that offense.
Yeah, they have. You know, the Stars, I feel like they're a team that we have not discussed all that much. And I don't want to say they're flying completely under the radar, but we know how skilled they are. And I believe Joe Pa is back in the mix for them, with Ottinger playing beautifully at net, as is to be expected, and they're very dangerous.
Yeah, I think that they could be poised for a long run. I would say maybe they don't want to play Colorado, but they handled Seattle pretty good. They won all 3 games in their meeting this year.
Yeah, they certainly did. And, you know, it's interesting here. I see Kenny Albert, who's on the call for TNT tonight. And he's got those Rangers games typically. But then Eddie Olczyk, he's on the call with the color. And interestingly, he's joined the Kraken broadcast team. But he got the call up to the big booth for the TNT TV broadcast tonight. So I hope that John Forsland isn't having to do it by himself this evening for the Kraken.
Yeah, he is one of the very best. Again, Cooper and I love to listen to him on that side. Again, I'm just able to carry this one here on TNT with you, be able to enjoy it off a little bit of a double dip. I know you're going to probably help me with the second period here, just to make sure everything else is going to stay nice and sharp, just in case we do have overtime in a game like this. Who knows? If you're going to get a classic as much as Boston, Florida was, you never know what you're going to have now. Nathan MacKinnon in full flight as he's trying to get around Will Borgen. Keeps this alive off the backhand. Give this back to Nathan. He'll fire a quick little wrister. This one gets tipped. It gets set up again. Oh, gets absolutely robbed by Grubauer. But it's MacKinnon. Stays with it into the left side wall. Cale Makar off the pinch. And he keeps it alive. Makar still dancing with it in the high slot now. Grubauer tries to drop this. Goes off his shoulder. And the first line starting to hum right now for the Avalanche. And Seattle smartly gets that out. Just a taste of what Nathan MacKinnon can do, huh, Cooper, on that side. That was tremendous.
Yeah, no question about it. As Makar sends this one up along the near wall, here come the Avalanche again. Look out. It looks like Colorado's really pushing to get the first one. If they score first, John, it'll be the first time they do so in the series.
That's definitely something to note, as it's sent the other way. I thought this was going to be onside. Maybe Seattle pinched back for the reason that it wasn't, as it's a chance now. Newhook off the drop off. The rebound opportunity just goes wide to the left side of the blue. That would have been a 1-0 lead for Colorado if the rebound would have been found. 8 minutes left to go in the first. They got to slow this back down, and Vince Dunn notices that. So he's going to take an extra beat with his Edmonton Oilers partner normally. And Adam Larsson, he's now with the Kraken alongside Vince Dunn, the St. Louis Blues. They've been excellent in that first pair, as this is sent back around now for Grubauer. They'll make the pass. This gets picked off by Colorado. They're really starting to work here, as Evan Rodriguez in the high slot now. Another shot opportunity gets blocked, goes back to Johnson. Byram, as it's sent back around. Evan Rodriguez trying to shovel out in the middle of the slot. And this is a good drop pass here for Sam Girard, as he's canceled off near the left side of the faceoff dot. Now Carson Soucy out there with Donato and Daniel Sprong. As Sprong on the fourth line will get a piece of it. And now Donato will cancel off near the right side wall, as this will fall back to the Avalanche. They can take an extra breath. I think so can everybody else at Paul Arena right now. Cooper Hopkins and I with you on Game 7 play-by-play in the Twitter Spaces and YouTube. Thank you guys for joining us here today. It's been a lot of fun. There's a lot to talk about here, especially when we get into the intermission. The only Game 7 for Grubauer was a loss to the Sharks in 2019. And how different is this when you see Seattle Kraken in just their second year trying to dethrone last year's champs? It's been an absolutely brilliant playoff series all the way across the board. You got to love Stanley Cup playoff hockey. Mikko Rantanen, he's been hot. And this was a good defense right down the middle. You got to pay for that real estate. They cancel it off as it pulls to Grubauer.
Wow, John, I'm actually a little surprised that there's not a tripping call right there. Maybe MacKinnon blows the tire, but he was at the near post there to Grubauer's right. And boy, Rantanen was absolutely flying to the neutral zone. As on the TNT side here, we see right in the heart of the slot, Nathan MacKinnon fires what had to have been a 90-plus mile per hour wrister right on, and Grubauer makes his biggest save of the night. And now we see a replay of MacKinnon going down there. He actually collided with his teammate in Mikko Rantanen, so no penalty there. It was 6:32 to go. And John, it feels like just a few minutes ago it was 3 shots for Seattle and 1 for Colorado. Well, now it's 10 for Colorado, just 4 for the Kraken.
Yeah, and you're talking about that over the last 3-4 minutes, and that was exactly right in the replay that you gave. I thought there was going to be a tripping as well when I saw it. 4 for 8 in offensive zone draws here for the Avalanche. It would certainly help things as it's in toward the left side wall, and it seems like Seattle just kind of try to sway the momentum the other way. Again, I understand it's still scoreless, but that shot board's starting to get slanted as this is recollected now. 4th line side here for Colorado, and this will be shot up in the netting. 6:03 to get a stoppage.
Yeah, John, apologies again, just a little bit of a technical hiccup there on the Twitter Spaces side, but I think we're back in the good graces of our technological overlords. But right now, I'm just taking a look at Grubauer with that close-up from the TNT feed, and he looks calm and collected. That's, of course, exactly what you want to see, and he has played that way as well this evening. He's had to come up big. Colorado really making a strong push over the last 3 minutes or so, and the Kraken haven't had much of an answer, not a lot in the way of offense over the past 5 minutes.
They certainly feel like ever since they got Cale Makar back, they've been rejuvenated, and they look like the Avalanche that we're used to, aren't they, Cooper?
Yep, absolutely. I 100% agree, as is usually the case, and I know we have play-by-play going here. I will certainly jump on board for that side when we get to the second period and beyond. But here come the Avs into the O-zone once again. There's a wrister that's turned away by the right pad of Grubauer.
Toews was the one that let that go, as this goes back now for Larsson. Again, 11 shots to 4, so it feels slanted right now. But again, Seattle's just kind of getting away from that momentum. They need to, as this is picked up into the defensive end, and they will spin and take their time. We have the forwards all situated here for Dave Hakstol's squad with 5:15 left to go in this first. John here alongside Cooper Hopkins. We will be switching off here in the second period. Just be able to keep these pipes sharp because I had a double duty here with the Waterford Sharks in the MIHL playoffs, and now we got Stanley Cup playoffs Game 7. So if you love hockey, today's the day for it, as it's collected now for Tolvanen and sent back. 4:55 left to go in this first. We're at Ball Arena for Game 7 against win or go home right now. Seattle trying to get a historic upset. If Florida can do it, why not Seattle? That's what they got to be thinking right now as this goes back for Gurgiev. We'll find it.
Yeah, so that puck just bounces out front. Gurgiev was tight to the far post, and he finds that one, covers up with the big glove, and looks like we're going to get another timeout here. So the Kraken, they're having a bit of difficulty, more so than in any first period, I would say, in this 7-game series, in terms of just developing high-danger chances. I mean, obviously, they're going to be few and far between when you face a team like the Colorado Avalanche, but I think tonight, more so than any other evening, the Kraken are just trying to find their footing. They're not off-kilter by any stretch of the imagination. I think you probably agree, John, but they still need to find their game and push the gas when it comes to the offense.
They do. And again, on the Colorado side, regardless Game 7 or not, this is what you would expect. You want to see Colorado start to look like that better team. And boy, they did in Game 6. But I mean, everything other than that, all the way up to 1 through 5, you could pretty much flip a coin as far as who the better team was going to be.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And just want to give a shout out here while we have a moment to our listeners on the Twitter Spaces side. We've got Big X, who's joined us for some broadcasts previously, and Alex is on board along with, I think, first-time listener from Puyallup, Washington. So definitely a Kraken fan there. That's Mr. Liggett. That's Jason Liggett, bond number 2397. So thanks for joining in, guys, and I hope you're enjoying tonight's game. Hopefully we'll see something from Matty Beniers. John, I don't want to blow up your spot, but number 10 in white, yeah, he's a Michigan Wolverine, and he's in a Chipotle commercial right now, so I had to mention it for you.
Hey, I missed that one. Dang you, TNT.
I'll have to, once I'm not using my phone to broadcast the game, I'll have to take a video of it, or maybe I'll not age myself. I'll just find the YouTube link and send it your way. Yeah, he's definitely he's on the Chipotle squad, so he's getting some of that sponsorship money these days.
Good for Matty. Try to get it farther in the series and get that sponsorship money. Get it whenever you can, my friend. And again, Cooper, thank you for being on this broadcast with me, because I know I will need some help through the second period. So we'll at least take that side, and then we'll figure out the rest of the way you want to do it, because I want you to have just as much of this, because I know as a proud Seattleite for you, my friend, this is a huge deal.
Yeah, this is a big one. I mean, obviously it was very exciting just to get the team, knowing that Climate Pledge Arena was rebuilt, and I'll continue my thoughts on that as a born and raised Seattleite. But yeah, with 4:40 to go here in the first, there you go, good stoppage. So I'll just wrap up and say that no, it's been great to see this team turn around after their first year. And I think some folks kind of questioning the draft strategies and choices of GM Ron Francis, but Ronnie and Dave Hakstol, they got this crew humming right now. And of course, they pushed Colorado to a Game 7, which no one expected.
No, you really couldn't. In between both series that we have for Game 7s, I think that'll be the last thing that you'd be thinking about, as this is Compher now. And this will be send back in behind the defensive end. As Seattle won some pressure off of the faceoff win there, but it's Lars Eller. He gets wrapped up there from Wenberg as this goes near the right side of the wall, as there's a huge hit against one of the Kraken that was sent flying like a bowling pin. And there's no exaggeration, as Yanni Gourde gets a chance to dump this one in. The towels start to wave at Ball Arena. You're definitely sensing the moment, even though we're still in the first period. Everybody knows what's at stake right now. I don't think Colorado expected to be at this moment, but as we talked about, this is not the Nashville Predators of last year. And now here's a chance as Girard able to brush that away with the left side of the stick. Seattle gets the first offensive zone pressure in a while. And they'll throw this back to D, but nobody was home. And this will go back to Grubauer with 3:45 left to go in the first. John Under with you alongside Cooper Hopkins. This is Game 7. We had a pair of those. We also had one on the round ball side. As Cooper Hopkins said, this Steph Curry dropped the 50-piece. So a lot of work here today as far as intrigue. And then tomorrow will be the Rangers and the Devils. I'll make sure I'll be on that one before a couple of off days because I'm going to need those. As this is sent the other way for Sam Girard, and Girard will flip this in across the red line. Touch it with the goal stick. Grubauer will fall back and make the save.
Okay, John. So this is not something that we've talked about with any specificity. I feel like I know where you lead with this. Obviously, you're so good with your playoff capsules. You know what your opinions and thoughts are. You're a data-driven guy. I know that we both liked the Avalanche during the regular season, even though they struggled briefly. They found their way back up to a lofty position. I think once we get to our next break, that might be our first intermission, but we might have to get into our predictions because it looks like, for tonight's game in terms of the final score and the outcome of the series, but it looks like, based on the play so far, that we're going to head into the break at 0-0. Both these teams are at a bit of a stalemate.
They are right now. Here's Cale Makar with a wave. He's going to shoot it to the left side dot. And that was a great save the other way. Mikko Rantanen get this across for Devon Toews. Almost lost in between his skates. Here's Mikko. McCann! Oh, it hit the outside of the cage. And then it also broke the stick of Daniel Sprong. As he's going to have to go back, go get a twig. And that was all of MacKinnon as he also wraps up one of the Kraken. And it's absolutely madness now for Nathan MacKinnon. Bringing the crowd to his feet, and now Will Morgan against Lehkonen. It's just lawn chairs everywhere. Bjorkstrand takes a hit, and I might lose my voice if this keeps up as this goes down here for Girard. Here's Pinball Wizard, and this is sent back the other way, and this will be picked up now for the Avs, as that was electric toward the right side dot off of the spin. White cross pass, and it was a little too far for Newhook. Good block the other way for Seattle. What action we had over the last 2 minutes. That was tremendous. As this is picked up across the red line now. Off the drop pass. Newhook trying to send this across. It's a fluttering one. And the high slot now off the spin. It's a chance for Byram. Byram now will pivot. The left side wall. Alexiak will come together off the hold alongside Carson Soucy. Colorado continues to get some extra puck possession here. As there's a stick that's on the ice and toward the high slot, but this gets picked off, and this really had to be for Seattle. They felt like they were about to be submerged as this goes in across the red line, flipped in around the embankment off the inboards, and this will go back to Sam Girard. Girard with a long outstretched pass from 100 feet, able to catch this one on sides is Evan Rodriguez. With a minute 25 left in the first, players goes down near the left side of the red line. Rodriguez goes in to finish a check as this is kept in by Cale. Now to the right side dot, let a flutterer go, and this one gets blocked out in front. It goes back to Cale, fake the pass, and the slap shot gets fanned on the other way, as that was a bullet dodge for Seattle. Matty Beniers starting to get submerged, as this one gets sent down off of the flip. This will go to the Avs. We've hit a minute left to go in the first. It's 13 shots to 6, as this is Evan Rodriguez, long shot. This one gets played by Grubauer, doesn't elect to hold, and an outstretched pass goes up the right side of the wall. Be a race for it, but it's going to be iced against Seattle. Man, that was ridiculous.
Yeah, that was a crazy sequence, John. And and we're talking, I mean, the sequence is not just 10 seconds. We're talking about an entire shift where McKinnon was absolutely in charge of this hockey game. It's a surprise that he didn't score, but he did about everything else. He had possession, great passes, multiple hits, and Daniel Sprong got his stick shattered. I think that's the only reason why this thing's not 1-0 right now.
Man, they're showing some of the Nathan MacKinnon work right now. Do you want speed? Do you want hits? You want shots? Playmaking? You got it all here for Nathan. He's an absolute superstar. You also got Cale Makar. Bowen Byram. That took a crazy hop, and I actually think it hit the left pad of Grubauer. And this will go back to Bowen now. Again, you got Bowen Byram, you got Devon Toews, and Cale Makar. You got three of the best young defensemen. And Cale Makar won the Norris Trophy and the Conn Smythe last year. Here's Nathan MacKinnon. Great move, set up. What a wrist shot. And I don't even know how Grubauer saw it, but he made the save. MacKinnon is on lock right now.
Yeah, John, I'm just gonna say it. It should be 1-0 right now, and Grubauer makes an absolutely miraculous save. I'm not sure if that puck just hit him because of solid positioning. We've talked about that in many games that we've covered. Obviously, Grubauer has that down, or else he wouldn't be an NHLer. But my goodness, MacKinnon is on another level, and I got to say, with 25 and a half seconds to go in the first, I think the Kraken are just trying to get back to the room right now and regather themselves.
I would agree wholeheartedly on that side. Lars Eller can't win the draw. That is good news for Seattle, but let's see if they can clear this one out. Played in off the backhand. It was Eller again as this one gets picked off all over Bjorkstrand. You think they're just going to make the safe play and they'll dump this in the left side of the red line. This is a chance for Seattle. This will be flipped in toward the right side dot. Fired from a severe angle as Bjorkstrand down to 2 seconds. That's going to end the first period. It feels like it shouldn't be 0-0, and it kind of felt toward the last 5 minutes, Cooper, that was all Colorado.
Yeah, I think we are on the same page in that look right now. And you said it. You said the Kraken, it seemed like they were about to be completely submerged. And if it weren't for the stick shaft of Daniel Sprong and a really fantastic save. I mean, Grubauer has already, I would say, 4 or 5, 10 bell saves in just this first 20 minutes as we hit the break here, John. And I'm looking forward to jumping on the play-by-play when we get back into the action. But I'm just glad that not only for both you and I, especially you, but for the Kraken in particular, I'm sure the Avalanche want to just keep going. But Seattle, I think, needs to sit down in front of their lockers and maybe go over the whiteboard a little bit because they are hanging on by a thread, my friend.
Yeah, this is the first time in the series, if you're not counting Game 6 and the side of Game 7 now, where we are after one period where it's scoreless, where this has started to look like the advantage that we thought it would be to start in this series. No disrespect to Seattle whatsoever. We know everything that they've done in the regular season. We've been waiting for the Avalanche to look like the Avalanche, and they're starting to do so now. What were the points that you wanted to hit going into this intermission? I'm interested to hear from you.
Well, okay, you know what? First of all, since we talked about it so much, and I know when we started this game between the Avs and the Kraken, we were still wrapping up things from Boston. And that Game 7, boy, John, I'm going to remember that one for a while, not just because selfishly, I still love seeing Matthew Tkachuk succeed and Sam Bennett, who's, of course, been away from the Flames for a couple of seasons now, but they are firing on all cylinders, and they take down the President's Trophy winning Boston Bruins. Let me just break down that game really quickly, just in terms of the reset. So the final score, of course, 4-3 in overtime. The Bruins fall to the Panthers. Your goalies were Sergei Bobrovsky, who saved 33 of 36 shots, and Jeremy Swayman for the Bruins saved 27 of 31 shots. It was actually Brandon Montour who was one of the heroes of this game, really of the series. Johnny had 5 goals in the series, the defenseman for Florida. He scored on the power play to open the game, and then Sam Reinhart made it 2-zip Florida in the second period early in. Then David Krejci scores to cut that lead in half. That was his first of the series on the power play. Then Bertuzzi, with his 5th of the series, ties the game at 2-2. And then Pasta, off a huge rebound off of Bobrovsky's right pad. It was a shot that came from the blue line. It ricocheted way out, even to the top of the right circle. And Pasta, he found it, fired it, hit the back of the net, and it was 3-2 Boston Bruins. And then guess who ties the game with a minute left in regulation? Brandon Montour, again, his second of the game, with assists to Verhaeghe and Barkov. And the reason why I mentioned Verhaeghe, John, we made the call. In fact, you did in real time, in overtime, 8.5 minutes in. It was Verhaeghe from Tkachuk and Sam Bennett, as we discussed. That was his second of the series and the biggest one, I would say, of the first round. We've had a great first round in the NHL this year, but man, that series was one to remember.
And again, I want to make this point. This isn't just to drive the needle. You lost Mackenzie Weegar if you're Florida. It's pretty nice on the other end when you got Brandon Montour. Hey, do you want to get top ice time? That's exceptional by him.
Yeah, no question about it. And that's the kind of play that makes a difference when the playoffs come around. You need people that are, and listen, we know the name Brandon Montour. We know what he brings to the ice, and he is absolutely worthy of respect as a defender in the NHL. But man, he turned on the offense at the absolute most opportune time for the Panthers.
And that was the one thing that we can talk about in the series. I know Alec and Ian that are in here. I appreciate you guys. You guys actually covered that one. We ended up catching that late as we got into our featured coverage. But yeah, I mean, it's a situation where Florida lost a lot of secondary goal scoring. You're just able to get back Anthony Duclair, Reinhart, Bennett, and then you get a chance to get Montour. Verhaeghe has been an absolute beast alongside Tkachuk. And they did something. I'll just throw my hand up in the air, even though you guys can't see it. I'll do it on the YouTube side. I didn't call it. I'm not the smartest man in the world. I love to cover everything, but there is no way on earth I would have picked the Panthers against the Bruins, considering everything.
Yeah, and considering that, John, just a number of weeks ago, I think you and I both thought that Florida was pretty safely out of the playoff picture. And now we're talking about this as we are on the cusp of May 1st. I mean, what a night in the NHL. And I'll roll right into this big Game 7 that, of course, we're covering tonight as well. So here's my question for you, my friend. I was discussing with a buddy of mine a little earlier, basically just the kind of final score predictions. And I had to do my best. I really had to fight against the homer deep down inside of me. As much as I wanted to say that the Kraken would win this thing 4-3 in overtime, I think about the types of games that we've seen in the series. 3-1, 3-2. I mean, obviously we have the outlier. I think 6-4 was the highest total. So 10 goals in that one game a few nights ago. But John, now I'm not just saying this because of the way the first period went. I have text evidence. I have the receipts. I went with a 4-2 victory for the Colorado Avalanche. I believe that it would be 2-1 Avs for a good chunk of the game. Then it would be 3-1 with a second goal coming late by the Kraken, but then the push would not be enough, and the Avs would break away or hit the empty net to make it 4-2. Do you think I'm on track with that? Do you think that seems reasonable, or do you think it's going to be a 1-0 game tonight the way it's been going?
I think you hit the nail on the head, to be completely honest with you, and if the only way I can counter that without picking your exact same score, I'm going to go ahead, because Grubauer's already made a couple of great saves. I'm going to say 3-1 Colorado in Game 7.
Yeah, I hope it's yours because, listen, as much as I'd love to see the Kraken score a bunch tonight and get the big victory, it just seems like the tide has turned a bit. And let's be honest, just a couple nights prior in Seattle, Colorado really had the run of play. I know that Seattle opened the scoring yet again, but the Avalanche basically controlled that game from about halfway through the first through the end of the third period.
No, they did. And again, we're starting to see the twist knob and everything else started to turn their way, and we're going to wonder and see what ends up happening. Let me get your thought of the next Game 7 for tomorrow, and then I want to get to a Maple Leafs point. So, Rangers Devils, you texted me this, and I should have countered back with a shoulder shrug. You said, I don't know which way this is going to go, and I'm right there with you, my friend. But what are your thoughts for a Game 7?
Well, talk about the most difficult setup of at least our first intermission here. I mean, you and I went over this when we covered the Kraken game a couple of nights ago. The Rangers looked like they were in full control of this series. They went up 2-0 and made it look easy, right? We saw that 5-1 victory, and then all of a sudden the Devils come roaring back and they lead in the series. We both thought, and I think reasonably thought, that, okay, well, wow, New Jersey's really taking a hold of this thing. They're not going to relinquish that grip, and good luck next year, New York. But I guess the Rangers had other ideas because, my goodness, they came back with a really solid and pretty much unquestioned 5-2 victory there, never in doubt. And the reason why I keep avoiding the prediction, John, is because I don't know if I can make one. If I have to, and the Devils are technically favored So if we're looking at Vegas, we have to say that Devils -120, expected to win a narrow one. I think that here's part of the justification I have for the Avalanche in my prediction is simply their playoff experience, the fact that they have been weathered, they've fought through the storms, and of course they've lifted the cup. The Rangers have come very, very close to getting to that hallowed ground. I think that just because of that experience, and of course they're a different team, right? We have new pieces there, but they're also playoff-tested pieces. We're talking about the Patty Kanes of the world, right? We're talking about the Tarasenkos of the world. I think that team has gelled enough to, on the road, quote-unquote, right? We're still in the tri-state area. I think that they're going to win tomorrow, and I think they're going to win pretty solidly. I'm going to pick the exact same score, 4-2. I think they're going to jump out to an early lead. I think the Devils will get a couple back just because they have that offensive talent, but I don't think that they're going to make it close, and that's my call.
I'm going to go right there with you. I'm going to repeat the score line from Game 6. I'm going to say 5-2 Rangers. So Akira Schmid, it was 3 goals in 2 games with a shutout. I mean, the dude looked like Martin Brodeur incarnate for a couple games, and then he gave up a 5 spot. It was 24 out of 29 in the 5-2 win in the convincing side, where the Rangers blue shirts looked more like their game 1-2 counterparts in Game 6. So I'm going to repeat that scoreline. I'm going to say 5-2, and the blue shirts get it done. Again, I said this to you openly at the very beginning of it. We did this weeks before with all the matchups. I said Rangers in 5. That looked pretty good, but they were up 2-0, but the Devils with 3 straight. I thought they were going to lay the smackdown. Now it's Game 7. I will have the coverage tomorrow about 8:15 Eastern, but give me a 5-2 for the blue shirts.
Yeah, it's tough to argue with that one. And of course, watch the whole thing get flipped on its head.
Yes.
The Devils just come out blazing, and then let's find some 7-3 victory for New Jersey tomorrow, and we'll just tuck our tails between our legs and pretend like we didn't say anything.
That's all you can do sometimes with some of these predictions. You try to think about what's the better team, but again, tell me how many people actually picked the Bruins on that side, which I imagine a lot of that was going to be chalk. And just like the NCAA tournament that we had a couple months ago here, Cooper Hopkins has been upsets aplenty, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it certainly has. Speaking of fun, I mean, this is totally selfish, and let's step aside when it comes to the NHL just for a moment. Let's put that on pause, but let's still talk hockey. I'm curious how things went for the Waterford Sharks there in the great state of Michigan today. How'd things go? How's the playoff run? What's the latest with your other squad?
So I'll give you the short version here for everybody. So it's the best of 3 here for the Sharks. They won both games. We were able to get both broadcasts Saturday and Sunday. So the finals should be 2 weeks from now. Those are best of 5. So they'll be able to get 2 or 3 more broadcasts in. It's been a lot of fun. And I know I texted you the other day, but here's the short version of it. We were up the top of the red rink on that side, and we were up in a scaffolding where I actually had to climb up on a step ladder to be able to see up the top part of it. That's no exaggeration. My feet and everything else were very sore, and at least for today, for the early side, we were able to go up in the stands and we get a sideline view just normally alongside everybody else. Drop the microphone right back to me outside with the video, and everything else here was much better for the secondary part. But it's all about internet access. That's the only way that you can get everything going up on YouTube. So very sore yesterday. I'm feeling it better today. I had to take a little bit of about an hour and a half cat nap to get ready for this game because I think the pipes and everything else I'm about to shut down as soon as I write the game story. So it was a good weekend. I don't know if we have another audio side on that, but I still got Cooper with me. So it was a good weekend on that side. We'll be back for about 2.5 weeks to finish that off. We'll see who the opponent's going to be because the other side's going to play a decisive game.
John, I want to say I'm impressed by your commitment to the craft, my friend. Jumping up on the ladder, that's first. I mean, we're willing to do whatever it takes to get the call in, but that's impressive, buddy. Well done.
Yeah, it was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun as we are watching some of
I
the.
hope I'm not, as we were talking about getting internet access, I hope I'm not too lost on the broadcast right now. I might be having a little bit of a connectivity issue. Let me know if you're still getting me. Sorry about the hiccup here.
No, we should be good now. I think I can hear you on that side. Shouldn't be any issues. We'll figure out the second period. If not, I can pick this all back up. But I was going to have Cooper take this second just to conserve everything here for Monday. I wanted to throw this out there too, just in case if you can still hear me on that side. Well, we know Toronto is advanced and Tampa's done. What do you think about the Florida-Toronto series? What do you like on that end? So we'll get him back in there on that side. I know there's some connection issues. Alec knows about that as far as the college side. I appreciate you guys following in on that end, but I'm just going to go ahead and throw it out there as we're taking some looks with Jackie Redmond on NHL Network. I kind of like this series in between Florida and Toronto. I'm not going to lie. It's a sense of where both teams, I think, can score a ton of goals. And if Florida can do this to Boston, who's to say they can't do it against Toronto? You would think from the onset that this might be an easier matchup for the Maple Leafs, but you got to be careful for what you wish for on that end of it. But if Cooper's back in here now, I just want to get your thoughts. What do you think about Maple Leafs and Panthers? What do you like about that series, and who are you going to take?
Yeah, first of all, apologies. I love the irony of you talking about internet access and connectivity, and then all of a sudden I drop out on my side. But at least we're here during the intermission, so try to get these all shaken out and get some consistency going. But you know what? When it comes to the Maple Leafs and the Panthers, this is a tough one because the Panthers, all of a sudden, if you have the ability in Game 7 on the road against the President's Trophy winners, if you have the ability to take down a squad like that, what can't you do?
Right.
Now, on the other side of that coin, John, so this is kind of a semi-rhetorical question. Do you think that a type of victory like the one the Panthers garnered tonight, is that sort of the climb to the top of the mountain for them? Obviously they're professionals. Of course, the goal is the Stanley Cup. But when you do something against Boston after the historic season they had, that's a feather in your cap, regardless of whatever happens from here. Even if they're swept by the Maple Leafs, I mean, the Panthers can always hang their hat on a huge upset of the Bruins. So that's my debate, sort of in my own head. And we see this sometimes, in college football, right? A team will upset a top five, unranked against the top five. They get the upset, and the next week they come back and fall flat against the team they should beat. If the Panthers can avoid that mentality, if they can avoid that outcome, I think they have a great chance. I think it's going to take 7 again because Toronto, I'm sure, is very, very motivated now that they've broken that seal that's been holding them back since 2004 to get to the second round. I think they're out for blood regardless of who's in front of them, so they're very dangerous. But I like the Panthers to keep running. I think they might take it in 7.
You know what? I think that's a good call by you. And on that side, I do agree with your point. Is there some type of emotional drain for Florida, at least in the 2 games where Toronto can essentially jump them, maybe get out to an early series lead, and potentially try to bury Florida before they can ever get started?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. But Toronto, seriously, when they are able to change their fortunes after they've been so not downtrodden, but just held back by some of their own play in the playoffs after all of these years, almost 2 full decades, you got to think that the motivation is going to be there. It's going to be fascinating as the bracket starts to take shape here in the second round. And obviously we have the Oilers finishing things off in Los Angeles. I know the Kings were your pick, John. How do you feel? You must be. I think you're probably okay with that outcome, even though you picked Los Angeles. What do you think, pal?
Hey, like I said, I got 7 out of 8 last year. It's looking more like 5 out of 8 this year. I didn't pick a lot of chalk, but I'm okay with it. I tried to give some people some shockers in there and mix what I thought. It's been a pretty good playoff series. I'm okay with it. And I think a lot of fans, if we were going to forecast this ahead, I might just be Canadian side of it, but I think a lot of people want to see Toronto and Edmonton in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah, that would be a fascinating matchup, not only just because of strategy and skill on both sides, both of those teams, but it would be, I believe, the first time since, I think 1993, it would be the first time that a Canadian team has won the Stanley Cup. Am I correct?
Yes. That's it, because the last one was Montreal Canadiens with Patrick Waugh.
That's right. Yeah, it was 93, and then of course that famous year 94 with Messier and the Rangers winning. That takes me way back, too far back, longer than I'd like to admit. But no, that would be an incredible series, an all-Canadian series. Our neighbors to the north, John, would be doing backflips. That's pretty much ideal.
Yeah, I think they would. And again, here's the part of the backflip side of it. It's Vegas and Edmonton. I think that's going to be a great matchup.
Yeah, and again, listen, we could do this all night. I know we still have a couple minutes left in our break here before I jump on that play-by-play. But Vegas and Edmonton, another hard one to pick. I know it seems like such a cliche thing to keep saying, oh, that's a tough one. Oh, that's a tough one. It is a tough one. The Knights were the best in the West this year, and the Oilers made a push. They were close to the best in the West this year, and they got hot at the right time, right? They hung on, they hung around, they improved their position in the standings at the right time of year, and it was the Knights, the Kings, and the Oilers just jockeying for position in that Pacific Division. But ultimately in the West as well. And man, oh man, now they're going to meet in the playoffs. I don't know, my friend. I mean, I think that I'm on board with probably the bandwagon with more fans and media thinking that the Oilers are going to keep rolling, but the Knights are definitely not a team to get pushed around.
Yep.
So I'm going to just keep my own dialogue as we jump into this second period. TNT not giving us much of a warning here. We're already 10 seconds into the second. This is a 0-0 game at Ball Arena in Denver. It becomes a 2-on-2 for the Kraken as they chip and chase here. 16 shots for Colorado, just 6 for the Kraken. That's a little uncharacteristic as they have had pretty successful first periods throughout these 6 games and change so far. But the Avalanche, boy, led by Nathan MacKinnon, just on another level right now. Let's see if they can continue their momentum in this middle stanza. So speaking of MacKinnon, he's on the ice right now as the puck bounces behind Grubauer. The Avalanche wearing these cerulean and maroon. They're moving left to right in the second, and the Kraken in the white with navy and teal-ish, I guess you would say, kind of that blue, water blue on the sleeves. They're moving right to left. So a minute is gone here. Cooper Hopkins now on the play-by-play on Twitter Spaces alongside John Ott, and the Avalanche continuing what we saw in the second. They are possessing in the ozone right now and walking the blue line. So right there's a turnover. Here come the Kraken the other way. Yanni holding the puck, wearing the A on his chest, one of the assistant captains of the visitors. And he's not able to hold possession, and the Avalanche will take over in the ozone. So right now, the Avalanche are going to chase down on the trapezoid, but the Kraken are going to chip this one along. Could be an icing here. We'll see. But no, it's called off as the Avs are able to chase it down. And Vince Dunn finally gets off. He was on for the entire first 90 seconds of this period. Morgan Geekie with a bit of a forecheck right now. The Kraken with a successful forecheck throughout this series, but they're unable to hold the puck, and it's picked up by the Avs. Now Newhook has it at the near half board. It's going to fire this one. Actually just goes wide of the far post. That was a seeing eye shot that missed by about 6 inches. So the Avs have the puck now backhanded along through traffic. It's bouncing in the slot. Now a shot, a wrister, and the rebound goes just wide. Boy, fans up on their feet here at Ball Arena. They thought that one was headed for the net, and so did I, but it stays 0-0. So that one's going to be tossed back in right there by Johnson of the Avalanche, and now the puck will bounce to the center red line near the penalty boxes where it's backhanded all the way down to Georgiev. So he leaves it right there for Newhook, and he will take this puck. Shooting Girard. Girard will take this puck up through his own blue line into the neutral zone. Going to send it up to the far wall. 17:30 to go here, and that puck's sent right on to Grubauer. He gets a snow shower right through the mask, but the Kraken come away with it. They're going to go 45-degree angle to the far corner. So it's picked up in the trapezoid with some traffic in front. Matty Beniers gets to the crease. He couldn't get a pass. Now it's going to be sent back to the blue line, and a shot from there is deflected off of a leg, and it'll be covered up for our first stoppage of the second period by Georgiev at the top of the blue paint.
Man, that was a chance for Colorado when it rushed the other way. Nathan MacKinnon, a rebound opportunity as the snow job was literally called on your end. Should have been a goal that was very close, and then a short side chance for Matty Beniers, able to get the hold and stoppage that, again, I think Seattle really needs.
Yeah, you know what I've liked so far from Seattle is the play of Will Borgen, number 3 in white. He's one of the defensemen for the Kraken, and he has a block tonight, a couple of nice passes, and then he put a nice shot in from the blue line. So let's keep an eye on his ice time and his activity. So I've liked his contribution so far. And there's a snapshot that goes off the crossbar. Unbelievable. That's from Bjorkstrand. He was an inch away from making it 1-zip, John. So now the puck up to the blue line. That one goes through traffic bouncing to Georgiev's right. The Kraken all of a sudden come to life. Now they have the puck, and this one's going to be nicely stick-checked away and will be turned back by Bjorkstrand. He was actually able to keep possession after having the puck knocked off of his stick. So about 3 minutes and 10 seconds gone here in the second. The Kraken now with possession. Here's Yanni Gourde up top. He's going to send this one ricocheting off of the far boards, and it's sent back around. It rattles on the kick plate. Gourde has it one more time. Going to try to chip it to the near corner. He gets it to a teammate that is held right there by Bjorkstrand. Now, bouncing in front, John. The puck's in the net. It's 1-0 Kraken off of multiple bodies. And the Kraken, for the 7th game in the 7-game series, score first. 1-0 Seattle.
That is absolutely unbelievable, and it's turbo. Brandon Tanev is the one that's celebrating. I know it wasn't the exact angle, but didn't it look like Morgan Geekie from Game 6? Bjorkstrand with a hellacious effort spins, throws a fluttering backhand, goes double deflection off Beniers and over the back of Georgiev, and it's 1-0 Seattle.
Boy, great breakdown by you, and you really highlighted the biggest part of that sequence, and that was Bjorkstrand drawing two of the Avalanche. Johnson and Newhook paying attention to the puck holder, and that's Tanev, who I actually don't think made contact with the puck. I think this is going to get credit to Bjorkstrand because the puck bounced off the two Avs and into the net. It's 1-zip.
I think so too. Now I got a chance to look at it again. Nobody's going to care about who takes the points right now. It's a 1-0 lead for Seattle. For the 7th time, I can't believe it. Every game they've scored first.
Boy, very interesting, and a tie into what we've been talking about, John. The Kraken now only the second team in NHL history to score first in all 7 games of the 7-game series. The only other team, the 2004 Toronto Maple Leafs against the Senators. That's an interesting note in history right there. They're crediting currently Brandon Tanev with his second goal of the series. We'll see if that stands up, but I think it's going to go to Bjorkstrand upon further review. But right now, the Kraken just going to keep wheeling and dealing. There's a shot on from a tough angle right there, and that was from Schultz, by the way. And now the Avalanche are going to try to carry this one down. It's Rodriguez, but he's unable to hold, and that puck slides to Grubauer, where he's going to drop off for a teammate. So the Kraken are picking up right here in their own zone. That's Schultz. He's going to look for that stretch pass, but he can't connect. And here come the Avs the other way with speed to the neutral zone. Boy, just unchecked in the middle of the ice right there. Here comes Rantanen, number 96, in cerulean and maroon. Keep an eye on him. He got hot a couple of nights ago in the Emerald City. So 15 minutes and 25 seconds to go here in the second. Cooper Hopkins and John Ott with you. Thanks for joining us on Twitter Spaces. As here come the Kraken with a fresh 1-0 lead. And they now are going to try to extend this thing. We'll see if they can get some more ozone time. But at the moment, they don't have the puck. They're trying to check that one away and actually are able to do so. Nice one-handed stick check right there by Yanni Gourde. And the puck will bounce up and into the benches. So we'll get a stoppage. Boy, John, things have really picked up there, haven't they?
Yeah, we've been waiting for Seattle to start to turn the pressure the other way as we get another look at this. I mean, you couldn't even do that in a pinball game on that side in Seattle. They're just getting in the right areas. They're throwing in the dirty areas, getting in between the crease, finding a way to get their goals. There is no cheapies here for Seattle.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, boy. If Bjorkstrand, if we replayed that, if we went ChatGPT and tried to run that scenario 1,000 times, it probably only happens that once. As Myers' elbow for Colorado was just in the right position to gain a little bit of a deflection and pop that over the blocker of Georgiev for goal number 1 tonight. So looking for goal number 2 again are the Kraken. They have the puck right now in the trap zone. The stick of Donato goes down to the ice, but he's able to pick it up. Now it's a one-on-one the other way. Boy, the Kraken really active sticks here in the first 5 minutes or so of this second period. Good defense. They're able to knock the puck away from the Avs, but they get it back once more. The home team now drops it. There's a snapshot that goes well wide of Grubauer's net. Coming back the other way on a partial 2-on-2 are the Kraken. Now it's going to be taken to the slot on the backhand right there, and handcuffing Georgiev was the shot from Eberle. Eberle with lucky number 7 on his back. He looks for the puck and finds it at the near half wall. Tries to backhand it to a teammate, but the Avalanche will intercept and float this one back out to neutral ice. But it's taken up by the Michigan man. Here comes Matty Beniers, drops it off. Now the Kraken will fire this one. It's bouncing in the slot again off of bodies from the Avalanche to the Kraken, back to the Avalanche, now floated back down the ice all the way. Going to be picked up here by Soucy. So Carson Soucy finds that one to look for the stretch pass. Now Matty Beniers still out on his shift. He's got it on a 3-on-3. He's going to dipsy-doodle and drop this one back to the blue line. That one bounces off the boards behind the net. 13:40 to go here. 17 shots Colorado. 1 goal in for the Kraken on 10 shots. And holding the puck right now is none other than number 8, Cale Makar, for the Avs. He sends this one down to Rantanen. Now Rantanen goes cross ice. The Avs have it in the ozone. Going to try to find it, headed toward Grubauer. That one is deflected off the skate. It's back to the far point. Now MacKinnon up top. He's going to run everything when he's on the ice. He finds Makar in the near corner. The Avalanche with a little bit of extended zone time here. They're first in several minutes. And the puck is back down low to Makar. He's going to snap this one across, and there is a sweet shot, John. That's off of the post, I think. Grubauer's movement left to right knocks the net off of its moorings and into Grubauer is absolutely standing on his head. It stays 1-0.
How the heck did Grubauer slide over to the right post and make that save?
I will be honest, as we hit our first media timeout during this period, I was preparing myself to call tie game right there. That was a ripper to the near post, and Grubauer somehow squeezed up against the pipe, and he keeps it out. That was impressive.
Yes, it was. I know we talked about goaltending throughout this series, and rightfully so. Georgiev had a really good Game 6. Right now, Georgiev doing well in this Game 7, but Philip Grubauer just a notch above. And we're going to see if that continues right now, because I'm not going to say Philip Grubauer put himself in the doghouse alongside Martin Jones, but as we discussed, it was an 885 save percentage, and now Grubauer's kind of worked his way up toward a 925. And as you literally said in Game 5, it's like getting a trade deadline acquisition as far as getting a goalie. That's how much it's changed. So we'll see if that continues. And the other thing that caught my eye, I hope that I'm not speaking this into existence, but when I look at the team stats, my friend, no power plays either way just yet.
You know what, though? When it comes down to it, I'm actually fine with that. And not only because I can say that, of course, as soon as the words left my mouth, I'm of course, aware of the fact that the Kraken, really throughout the regular season and into the playoffs, one of, if not, you might have to remind me here, John, I think the best and most successful in terms of goal scoring team in 5-on-5 play was the Seattle Kraken. So, selfishly, the Seattle kid would love to see more 5-on-5 hockey, because that's where the Kraken thrive. But also, aside from that, I think both of these teams are so skilled with the full contingent of players on the ice. Let's let them play. As long as they can play within the rule set, as long as they can keep it fair. And of course, they're going to push the boundaries. It's the NHL playoffs. But as long as they can keep it as clean as they can, well, let's go 5-on-5 and just let's see who the winner is,
Yeah, we're speaking this into existence. I think from the TNT side, it says 0-3 in Game 7s for Nathan MacKinnon. No points in 3 Game 7s. So I think that's going to change.
I think so too. I think the way he's played tonight, it's not if but when, and who knows? It'll be an assist, it'll be a goal, but he's going to contribute on the stat sheet. And there's a nice, clean offensive zone win. I thought that shot was in from the top of the circle, but it went just wide of the far post, bounced off the kick plate from behind Grubauer. Boy, Makar really moving quickly now. This top line, this top pairing for Colorado, making big moves. And here's MacKinnon with a near side shot. It was kind of a shot pass, and it was deflected wide of the net. Grubauer in good possession again. Now here comes the puck. It's a partial breakaway and a goal for the Seattle Kraken. It is Bjorkstrand again, and surprise, surprise, John, 2-0 Seattle.
I thank goodness I just turned my mic on. I didn't scream. Oliver Bjorkstrand with the breakaway lift over Georgiev. That was a great outlet pass. Nathan MacKinnon just gets denied to the right side of the post, and the Kraken shovel this out. I think it was Wenberg, and then Bjorkstrand off to the races. That is a perfect shot and a 2-0 lead for Seattle.
Oh my goodness, Bjorkstrand getting closed down by one of, if not the best defenders in all of hockey. He times his shot and places it perfectly up over the glove, post and in. John, it's 2-0 Kraken. Now, we've seen the Avalanche come back before. We know what capabilities they have. Can the Kraken keep their foot on the gas? That is the question. It was 12:20 to go. Again, 2-0 Seattle. Here comes Cartier. This puck now bouncing into the blue paint area. Players are colliding. The Kraken have the puck. Georgiev is down. Kraken fire another shot. This one goes off of a body. There was a forest of legs and arms right in front of the blue paint in the Colorado zone. And now the Kraken are going to hold to the far wall. Boy, number 52 in white, the AHL Rookie of the Year. Man, Ty Cartier, he is one to watch. Had such an impact, of course, with his goal a couple of nights ago. And he made a nice play right there to get the Kraken almost that third goal. So 2 goals on 11 shots for Seattle. Nothing to speak of in the goal column for Colorado, even though they have almost 20 shots with 11:40 remaining here in the second. The goal is credited to Bjorkstrand with assists from Tolvanen and Yanni Gourde. And right now, the Avalanche with Compher are going to look to try to cut this lead in half. They have the puck behind in the trapezoid. Now this one's at the top of the circle. It bounces off of Grubauer's blocker. Good save right there. Boy, Chuck, another one for him. And through traffic, he snags that wrister from the blue line, and he freezes the puck, John. We'll get a face-off. Grubauer is looking fantastic this evening.
Yeah, I'll be completely happy to tell everybody here in this room between Twitter Spaces and YouTube that my prediction was completely wrong. I guess nothing wrong with what Colorado is doing with the exception of breakaway for Bjorkstrand. It was just 2 shots in the last 4 minutes for Seattle, but they scored on both of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, that is something to make note of, right? Because the Kraken have, the results have been great when they've had the opportunities, but they've been fewer and further between. The Avalanche, I would say, have had more of the run of play when it comes to the offensive side, but they've had a little bit of, not bad luck, but just a little lack of conversion. So we'll see if Rantanen from distance right there can find the net. He almost does. The puck gets sent back through the slot, but no danger right there as it's in the far corner. Geeky chases it down. Now he's battling for the puck, but he can't come away with it. Now this one's cross-iced and bounces over the stick of Cale Makar, and he will chase back down in his own end where he is checked by Schultz, but Makar has plenty of room to make a pass and advance that puck where it bounces off a stick and goes back to Grubauer. Now another battle to Grubauer's right. One of the Avalanches down. There's a sharp angle shot right there that whistles past everything, and now the puck's sent back 45 degrees to the far corner. Good check right there by, I believe, make that Adam Larsson. Now a slapper from way up top, and the puck is loose in the high slot. The Avalanche still have it. Boy, they're starting to buzz here, John, in the O-zone. 10:25 to go. It's 2-0 Seattle, but the Avalanche are all around it. They snap one from the right dot, and I don't think that one made it to Grubauer. It could have been off a body in front. That's a fake slapper right there by Byram. He sends it down to Rantanen. Rantanen goes way across ice. Now it's held back to Rantanen. Rantanen's a near half wall. He's going to skate it down to the circle. The Colorado Avalanche look like they're on a power play right now. This shot comes in from the blue line from Makar. 10 minutes to go now in the second. Boy, extended offensive zone time. The Kraken can't get the puck, and they certainly can't get a shift change. Now this one's loose. It's out to Grubauer's right. I don't think he saw that most recent shot. Now Schwartz is going to try to get this one down the ice as he dives, and the Kraken will finally change here, and they can take a breath, and so can I, as Matty Beniers and his line are now out on the ice, and the puck will bounce into the Seattle zone where they backhand it to the neutral zone, and here come the Seattle Kraken up at the far wall. This one snapped, and a beautiful save, and a shot by Matty Beniers almost made it 3-zip. Unbelievable. Boy, the Kraken, when they get their chances, they're either converting or coming extremely close. Boy, John, I can't wait to get your thoughts on that shot from number 10 in white. And now here's a good check right there as the Kraken try to clear it. That was Schultz right there for Seattle. And now here comes a shot from distance. And again, boy, the Kraken diving to make blocks. That one was shot by Devon Toews. And here we go again, history repeating. And there's a slap shot saved by Grubauer. He slides left to right again. And the puck is whistled around the glass. The Seattle Kraken can't get it out. Oh, my goodness. And this one, I guess, John, will be whistled down. I have to take a breath. I got to take a pause. And, boy, Philip Grubauer, again, he is absolutely unshakable tonight. Another huge save.
That was sliding over from left to right post. Just be able to get a piece of that with the blocker. Kind of looked Vasilevsky-like. And on the other way, set up with Matty Beniers. That was a stop in full splits for Georgiev. Big clap there for both goaltenders as we go to commercial break. That was immaculate.
Yeah, and I hope I'm not overselling this thing. I know sometimes I can sound a little overzealous, a little too excited, but this second period has really ramped up. Not that the first period didn't have its share of action, but John, tell me I'm not crazy. It feels like the second period, the heat has been turned way, way up.
Yes, it has. And I want to say this, and I'm going to say it the right way, because I know that you're a satellite and you should be proud about the 2-0 lead that they got over the Avalanche. I'm not going to say the Kraken are lucky, but as you called throughout the broadcast, it certainly seemed like minutes at a time, maybe 3.5, it was all Colorado in the offensive end. And as soon as the Kraken got the puck the other way, bang, it's in the back of the net. And another push, and then bang, it's in the back of the net. That's kind of the way it's been right now for the Avalanche. They just seem like they're not running into their own ways. They're just not getting the breaks.
Yeah, and they, you know what? They are running into the type of goaltending, and for the rest of the time, John, I will reference this series between at that time, the Johnny Gaudreau-led Calgary Flames, who barely got the Dallas Stars out of there in 7 games, and the Flames just ran into an extremely hot Jake Ottinger, who we now know is the star goaltender in this league. And Grubauer is proving us right tonight. He's done it all series long, and he's doing it so 7s. And Grubauer is trying to make that 6 in a row for the Avs.
I know it's the understatement of the year, but that's absolutely unbelievable considering the personnel Colorado's had over the years.
No question about it. And we are back underneath the action. Trademark John Ott. That is a four-eye saying right there. And we have 8:40 to go here in the second with 24 shots for Colorado, but nothing to speak of when it comes to goal scoring. 13 for the Avalanche as Yanni Gourde throws a check right there and is play whistled down. Are we going to get an interference or roughing call here? I'm not sure exactly what happened, John. Did the puck leave the zone? Play's been whistled dead.
Yes, it has. Just outside of the blue line, Yanni Gourde with a little bit of a late hit. If the score line was a little bit different, I imagine Colorado would want to answer that, but that's the last thing they're thinking about right now is a fight.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Boy, we get another angle of that beautiful blocker save of Grubauer absolutely robbing Rodriguez. And Rodriguez, I will be fair, he didn't get 100% of that thing. It was a bit of a fluttering puck, but probably still in the 80 mile per hour range and absolutely dialed in. Grubauer making a huge difference for his team tonight. So here we go. Just over 8 minutes to go in the second. Hopkins on the play-by-play with John Ott on the color for the moment. He's been working hard on the Twitter Spaces side, the YouTube side. He's working for the Waterford Sharks. The man is everywhere, and the Kraken are everywhere. Here they come right now. There's a shot that is snagged by the glove of Gurgiev, and Tolvanen is denied 8:05 to play.
I mean, look, Cooper, there's another one on that side in between Tolvanen. It could have been a 2-on-1 up a cross pass, but Tolvanen feeling pretty good and confident, and Seattle's in the flow, and that's a good stop by Gurgiev and an odd man rush.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw Bjorkstrand obviously just recently score from a very similar angle and a different style of shot right there, but Tolvanen still gave Gurgiev some trouble, but Gurgiev answered, to his credit, a nice trapper stop. So we are just to the right of Gurgiev, and there's going to be a face-off here in the O-zone for the Kraken. It was lost, unfortunately, by Beniers. It's going to be picked up right there and carried out by Colorado. But a nice stick check right there. It's taken away, and there is Cartier. And I don't know if Gurgiev saw that one. I think Cartier just whistled that one potentially up over the bar. So inside 8 minutes to go now. Boy, oh boy, it continues, John. When the Kraken get their chances, they're extremely dangerous. But the Avs, they love to cycle in the O-zone. They do have the puck right now at the near half boards. It's dropped off in the near corner. Rodriguez battling for it, where it's taken away by Seattle. Going to chip this one forward to Cartier, boys. Ice time seems to be climbing up here in this second period. And there is Matty. Beniers tries to go near side, and Gurgiev looked behind him. But it stayed out. Boy, how close has number 10 been for the Kraken tonight? He seems like he's on the doorstep of putting one in the net this evening. And right now, a couple of players down at the far boards, John. I'm not sure if there's an injury, if they're just tangled up. One of the Kraken and one of the Avs. Now, the Av will leave his stick behind. I'm sorry, I couldn't get a number on that. But so he will exit the ice and head back to the bench. So we have a loose stick on the ice, and the puck is being battled for in the trapezoid behind Kirk. My gosh, I'm all over it, John. I'm settling back in here, but Grubauer saw the puck behind him. It was cleared out by Seattle. No icing here, so it's picked up, and the Avalanche will carry out. It's Sam Girard. He's going to look to the far wall, and carrying through the neutral zone right there is O'Connor. So here come the Kraken the other way. It's bouncing in the neutral zone and going to come to the near boards. Here's Tanev, who I believe at the moment is still credited with the first goal. We'll see if that goes to Bjorkstrand. There's a snapshot right there from the Avs. They came into the O-zone quickly. That boy's spinning right there, throwing almost a punch for the Kraken. Number 21, Alex Wenberg. And now here comes Cale Makar up to the slot. Boy, tons of back and forth action right here. I'm just trying to get everything clear as we are closing in on 6 minutes to go here in the second. And there's a snap right there off the bar, John. Oh, my goodness. I looked down for a split second, looked back up, and the Avs almost cut that lead in half to make it 2-1. I think the shot beat Grubauer, but it didn't beat the post. So now the Seattle Kraken trying to hold the O-zone, but can't. Here comes Colorado the other way. The puck's going to bounce off the glass behind Grubauer, but Rantanen couldn't find it. It's backhanded along to Gourde. Gourde does a nice job right there to grab the puck with one hand. Gurgiev snags it with the glove. He's going to drop it off. Now it's carried up by the Avalanche, sent up the far wall near the player benches. It's carried in just onside. Now Rantanen has it at the near wall. He loves that position. Going to send it back to the blue line. The fake slapper from there. And a snapshot from an angle at the top of the top circle. It's another save by Grubauer. and it is still 2-zip, John, but I'm not sure how. Colorado, so close, so many times.
So Larsson and it seemed like JT Compher were stuck for an eternity near the right wing side. Just couldn't get out of their own way, stuck in a hit, and then Mikko Rantanen kissed the right side of the crossbars that just stayed out. So even if Grubauer is making some of these fantastic saves, he's been a lot of $10. He's also got a couple of rings right off the pipe as the Kraken still have a 2-0 lead. And as you called about it, I'm thinking about the jersey that I'm wearing right now. Matty Beniers was so very close to making it a 3-0. I'd love to see Matty get a goal in this playoff game.
Yeah, me too. And I hate to say it, but as we hit the commercial here, I do think that Colorado has been so close. Now Seattle has answered, but I stand by what I claimed before, in that Colorado seemed to be able to settle in the offensive zone and develop and actually play their game, as opposed to the Kraken, who and listen, if you can get goals this way, by all means, continue. Right? Don't change what you're doing. But the Kraken are relying on the transition game and some of those stretch passes. And listen, that's working. I mean, obviously it's up on the scoreboard right now. It's 2-zip. But I think the way things are going, if they continue, it becomes the matter of time, right? Where, as you and I both expect, how long until, not if, but how long until McKinnon's on the scoreboard, how long until Makar, Rantanen, Lehkonen, etc. find their way onto the score sheet.
Yeah, it certainly feels that way. And again, when you mention those names, I know we're still about 5 minutes left to go here in the second frame. But when you think about those big boys, when is the secondary goal scoring for the Avalanche going to come? Because you're up against it in the Game 7 when it's been all across the board for Seattle. It's been non-existent for Colorado.
Yeah, it's true. And, you see players like Tolvanen, such a big get for the Kraken. He was very, very close, again, from a very similar shooting position. And that was that glove save that we gave some credit for, making a nice stop with the trapper. And here's our replay as we come back to action. Boy, some of the fans with their heads in their hands thinking that it was going to be the first of the night for the Avalanche, but it was not to be. The puck sailed off of the crossbar. Now this one bounces out in front, John, as we're back underneath the action. 5 minutes and 10 seconds to go. The Kraken try to clear. Can't do so. Once more, the Avalanche with possession. They're doing everything they can right now. Boy, I think Makar was sent to the ice. Thought there might have been a tripping call right there, but not to be. The fans call a penalty. The referees do not. So now we are inside 5 minutes to go here in the second. And the Kraken battling for the puck near the blue line on the Avalanche side of the ice. Toews is in the mix right there, trying to see who else is in there. And the Kraken look like they're going to come away with this thing, although it's still not clear of all the legs and skates. Although it will come back to the red line. Now the Kraken are going to step in. They have it at the far corner. Now the puck bounces into the trapezoid where it's held by Gourde. Gourde now is going to send it back to the blue line. It's chipped along right there for the Kraken by Susi. Make that Dunn. And puck will exit the zone now as it bounced around the far wall. Now, all of a sudden, the puck's back on Yanni Gourde's stick. He chips it down, and the Kraken will chase after it as the goal scorer, Oliver Bjorkstrand, looks for possession. He can't find it, and this one's sent all the way back down to the Kraken end of the ice. So Larsson picks it up there, pops his head up, takes a look. Sauce pass right there all the way to the penalty box area, but he couldn't find a teammate. It's chipped forward, and now Compher has it. He will chip and chase, and the chaser is Cale Makar. So nice strategy on that side. But Girard's going to take it now for the Avalanche and then backhand this one along the blue line. Avalanche have it just inside the offensive zone at the Kraken. Kraken will take over behind Grubauer, looking to possess this thing and get it out of there. Nice between the legs pass right there. I think that was potentially Adam Larsson. And now here comes Matty Beniers. He's up the center of the ice. He gets knocked down right there, spun around onto his knees, and played his whistle dead, John. Are we having a penalty here? I think potentially an offside call.
We got an offside call, and to your credit, you called this moments and moments ago for everybody else. Guess who's got their second goal of the game now? Oliver Bjorkstrand.
Boy, so number 22 in white. He is just one away from the HT, looking for the Hattie. There wouldn't be too many hats flying on the ice if he finds one more, but there are some Kraken fans in the crowd. I know that they would be absolutely thrilled, and I think not only because they would be celebrating Bjorkstrand, but I think they'd be thrilled to get some more insurance here, as the Seattle Kraken look like they're going to need it.
Yeah, it's something that you remember for the rest of your life, a hat trick in a Game 7.
No question about it. So Wenberg, the face-off in the neutral zone, he was waved out there. Schwartz had to take it. He could not win it. So the Kraken are looking to take over in the neutral zone after that face-off. They're able to grab the puck momentarily, but the puck slides back to the Avs, and they'll take it at the far wall. 3 minutes, 15 seconds to go here in the second. It's a 2-0 lead for the Seattle Kraken here at Ball Arena in Denver, and that snap pass goes from Toews over to Makar. It's going to be back to Makar at the blue line. There's a slapper that goes well over the cage. That was by Lehkonen. Up and over the top, and the puck is still held by the Avalanche. Boy, the steam continues. Kraken having a bit of a struggle here. As boy, a beautiful move by MacKinnon, and now he's got the puck. Another unbelievable save with the blocker by Grubauer. MacKinnon looks skyward. He can't believe he's still off the score sheet. 2 minutes, 40 seconds to go, John. Boy, we're gonna have plenty to talk about during our second break, which seems like it's coming up quickly. Here's what the Kraken have loved to do all night: to come up that near wall, snap a shot right on. That one was put on Georgiev by Spronger. Daniel Sprong, the former Washington Capital, put that one on, but it was a relatively easy save for the Avalanche goaltender. Now the puck's going to bounce all the way down, and it went too far, John. Crossed a couple of red lines, and that means it's an icing. Let's get a replay of this thing on the TNT side. Unreal. Grubauer cannot be beaten to the blocker side. Another save.
I mean, that was ridiculous. It was Nathan MacKinnon to Rantanen. MacKinnon back off the half spin. Lets the wrister go. That looked like an all-star design play.
Yeah, this is absolutely wild. It's 26. I mean, it's just simple math here. 26 saves, 26 shots. You got a 0 up on the board for Colorado, and there are just in regulation 22 minutes and 23 seconds to play. It's been the Philip Grubauer show. It would be the Nathan MacKinnon show, but he can't get the finish tonight. So with 26 shots for the Avalanche and 15 for the Kraken, it is 2-0 to the visitors, and they have the puck at the moment. There's a stretch pass right there. Boy, a nice seeing eye pass that just bounced off the skate in the neutral zone at the last second. And chasing down, looking for the puck is Cartier. Boy, he does a good job to pull up right there. Almost made contact with Georgiev. Looked like Georgiev was pretty wise trying to get into the path of Cartier, maybe to draw a penalty. And we are going to have a penalty, John. Looks like it's going to be a tripping call, and our first power play of the game is going to Colorado. Say goodnight for 2 minutes to Vince Dunn of Seattle.
Potentially at that point, we will say, because I'm going to tell you this. For the amount of points that they say that Nathan MacKinnon doesn't have in the last 3 games, that's certainly not his fault. I mean, at this point, he could have 3 or 4 here, Cooper, if not for the extraordinary efforts of Philip Grubauer. Nathan MacKinnon's been all over this thing. He's just been denied in the slot about 5-6 times already.
Yeah, no question about it. It's just been Grubauer who has been freezing him out, Nathan MacKinnon. And MacKinnon's had an absolutely fantastic game otherwise, but we'll see if this very, very dangerous Colorado team can convert on the power play. If the power play runs its full duration, they will actually have 10 seconds of power play time in the second period as well. There's 1:50 on the clock here in the second period. Nice clean face-off win by Rantanen, but the whistle is blown. Looks like he may have jumped a little early before the puck was dropped. So we'll do it again, John.
So here's the thing I always want to mention there. They flip Rantanen to MacKinnon. You want to get the offside hand to get MacKinnon a quick ripper or get this right to Cale on the set play.
Yes, indeed. So it's going to be Rantanen again against Wenberg to Grubauer's right. Wenberg gives the referee a little tap right there, and he actually wins this face-off. So an excellent job by Wenberg to get that second opportunity, and the puck is fluttered down to the Colorado end. 10 seconds have elapsed here in their power play. About a minute and a half to go here in the second as Cale Makar carries this one up, has to chip it backwards. It's going to be taken right there for the Avalanche by Nathan MacKinnon. No shock there. He streaks through the neutral zone and holds possession, tries to get it back to the far point, and this one bounces over a stick, and it's all the way to Georgiev. So Makar has to gather himself. He's going to chip this one back. Here comes Rantanen, wearing that A on his chest, the assistant captain for Colorado. He carries in, nice stick work right there, but the Avalanche can't hold, and now it's going to bounce to MacKinnon. He fires it again. I think he's either stoned by the glove of Grubauer, he might have just sailed it over the top, but he puts his stick down on his knees. John shakes his head. He can't believe that he still hasn't scored.
I think it might have been a piece of the glove, as you said, as it went up into the netting again. Nathan MacKinnon, I hope that he does not get discouraged because he's been all over this puck. He's been in all the right areas. All you can do is keep firing this. This just got grazed off the glove and up in the netting.
Boy, yeah, just enough. We're talking centimeters of that glove.
Yes.
That keeps this game 2-0. 1 minute, 6 seconds to go here in the second. 1:16 on the Colorado power play. A nice, clean face-off win goes back to Toews right here. He's going to center himself and then drop it back to Rantanen. Rantanen seeking, holding, sends it back to Toews. Toews now has options, goes back to Rantanen. Rantanen at the top of the circle, snaps a shot. That goes off a leg right to one of the Kraken, and they snap this thing back down to Girard. And big number 40 will leave it for Toews one more time. 44 seconds to go in the second. It's dropped off for Rantanen. That first power play unit staying out this entire time. 17 shot blocks tonight for the Kraken and counting. Just 6 for the Avs. They have it at the far half wall. Now it's near the dot. Toews gets the puck back near that DraftKings logo, and it's 2-1, John. A slap shot by none other than number 29, Nathan MacKinnon. It was bound to happen, and it did. From the dot and in, 2-1. Now your score just seconds before the end of the period.
I'm going to tell you this on the YouTube side. I shook my head and I gave a thumbs up there. No question on the other end for Toews. Back from MacKinnon. He got his spot. He got a slapper. No reason to put your head down. Keep doing what you're doing. An absolute rocket. And Nathan MacKinnon has sent the crowd to Ball Arena alive and well. The door was open from a Vince Dunn tripping, the only power play of the game. And now it's 2-1. We got a brand new hockey game.
We certainly do. And credit to Rantanen, who put a nice little screen in front of Grubauer right there. He was basically unchecked. And also, after going blocker, MacKinnon finally shoots to the far post, which is the glove side. After just getting a shot off of the tip of the glove, this time he beats Grubauer, glove side, far post, 2-1. No mistake about that one. And boy, John, even as a Seattle fan and a Seattle kid, I cannot be angry at that. That's Nathan MacKinnon at his finest. That was a fantastic goal. Here come the Avalanche one more time. They look to carry this puck in with 17 seconds to go in the second. And we have a bit of a wide angle right now on the TNT feed. I'm having trouble seeing those TV numbers, but it's MacKinnon from Toews and Lehkonen, and I think we have an icing call right here. So guess who's coming back out wearing that 29, Nathan MacKinnon, with 10 seconds to play here in the second. Boy, he's licking his chops. He's going to want to try to tie this thing.
So as you said, perfect shot, perfect screen by Rantanen, and now combined between Rantanen and MacKinnon, that's 10 of Colorado's goals in this series.
It's true, and interesting on a super slow-mo replay, Rantanen with that screen in front of Grubauer, the puck actually deflects off his hockey pants and then into the net. I think it was bound for the net anyway, but Rantanen may end up getting credit for that goal, so we'll have to keep an eye on that one as well. Another clean ozone face-off win for the Avs. 6 seconds to play. The puck bounces by Grubauer, can't find it. Now 2 seconds, it's in the near corner and tied up. It bounces behind the cage, and zeros are on the scoreboard. So, John, we end the second period with Rantanen having a little bit of a chirp with one of the referees, but either way, it's 2-1 thanks to a late power play goal. And there's a shot of Bjorkstrand skating to the room. He's got both goals tonight for Seattle. 2-1 with 20 minutes in regulation to go.
Whether it was an obvious statement by you, I'm going to point it out because you threw it out there. What did you just tell me a few minutes ago? Make sure you can keep this even strength of your Seattle. It's one tripping penalty against Vince Dunn. I know we didn't mean to do it, but it did open the door. Colorado was looking for anything. As you said, they've been moving this puck with finesse all the way across. Grubauer's made some excellent saves. Again, this is a scoreline that could easily be maybe 4-2 on that side. That's not even being disingenuous. Nathan MacKinnon's been all over this thing. He finally got the bullet that he needed. He's been all over it. And Colorado has life again. It's 2-1 going into the third. I think we're going to be set up now for a fantastic, another Game 7.
Yeah, I think there's no question about that. And let's reflect. I mean, listen, during our first intermission, we went over our predictions. And, of course, I have to give credit to the hometown team. For me, at least, they have flipped my prediction on its head. I thought it would be 2-1 Colorado for a good chunk of the game. Now, listen, it's only been 2-1 for about 30 seconds of game time, thanks to MacKinnon's power play goal, but it's not 2-1 Avs, it's 2-1 Seattle. So can they hold on to that lead? Can they extend the lead? We have seen several times in this series, Sean, that Colorado has been beaten early by the Kraken, and I don't want to say the Kraken have faded. This isn't the Calgary Flames we're talking about, where they start hot and fade as we get to the second and third. But Colorado has just found that championship gear that they have access to. And the Kraken, not that they're not able to challenge the Avalanche when they reach that level, but Colorado is 1 game coming from behind. I think, boy, at minimum, you're going to need 1 more if you're Seattle, if not 2.
Yeah, I think so too. And I also want to just throw this out there. I know Seattle hasn't done so. This would be out of their character. But knowing that this is a game 7 and knowing that they have the lead, is there going to be a point, and I hope it's not this, but I'm just going to throw it out there, at maybe halfway through the third period that they start playing the neutral zone trap, trying to get in front of Grubauer and block shots, let concede, and maybe have Colorado more offensive zone pressure, and eventually the levee's going to break? I hope that's not what Seattle does. It'd be out of character for Dave Hakstol's squad, but you kind of just wonder, because if they're playing with house money, as you think that they are against the Avalanche, maybe they try to go in a defensive shell, and I think that would be the wrong move.
Yeah, I think you and I'm pretty sure our listeners. I mean, we're all savvy enough to know that's not the right play. Holding a 1-goal lead at Ball Arena against the defending Stanley Cup champs by going into defense first. Listen, I trust the Kraken's defense. I think they trust themselves. That power play goal notwithstanding, I mean, obviously they were down a man. Other than that, as you astutely pointed out, John, at 5-on-5, yes, they've been pressured, but yes, they've bent, but they have not broken.
Right.
I've liked what I've seen from really all 3 of the defensive pairings for Seattle. Really active sticks, great positioning, and the shot block totals continue to climb. They know what their strategy is. I think they're going to stick to it. It's just, can they get 1 more? They got a good bounce, a really lucky bounce from that Bjorkstrand goal to open scoring. And then, listen, the exact opposite, a complete laser, a goal scorer's goal posted in on the far side by Bjorkstrand again. So they know they can do it. I think they have the confidence. They certainly have the personnel. It's just about putting it on board. And I think they'd like to get it probably within the first 5 minutes of the third or so.
From the way that you're saying that, it seems like Seattle's done that throughout a lot of these games. They will score within the first 5 minutes, whether it's just a shot down the wing that's been open. That's why Jared Bednar has given up those left or right rushes when it's just a single man down. And whether it's Sprong or Tolvanen or anyone else want to take a shot, that's open. But for the Avalanche, as you said, it's kind of been more of a wheel and deal where Seattle trying to stay out in front. Again, let me just give you the quick little stats on this side, because this was something that threw out to me in particular. It's 12 block shots to 3 in favor of the Kraken. So they're trying to make sure that they can help out Grubauer. And Grubauer, to his credit, I mean, this is the best I've seen the man look in a long time. And he's very much the reason why Seattle's out in front. They've had some chances in the second period that they took advantage of. But I just want to see if those strategies continue to stay in place. Cooper, would you mind if you give a little bit of a Florida reset? I just got to take a break here for a couple minutes.
Yeah, no problem. So, I think we have covered all of our future thoughts on series that are coming up, including between the Panthers and the Maple Leafs. We talked a little bit about the Golden Knights that are going to face the Oilers. There's certainly lots to go over, but just to recap one more time, the other game from this evening, a huge upset in the NHL. The Florida Panthers, who are on the outside of the playoff picture, looking in, not too far away from the end of this regular season, they have upset the President's Trophy winning Boston Bruins by a final in overtime of 4-3, with assists from former Calgary Flames Matty Tkachuk and Sam Bennett. It's Carter Verhaeghe, 8:35 into that overtime period to get the game winner. So goals by Montour and Reinhart made it 2-0 Florida. Krejci and Bertuzzi. Then Pastrnak came back to make it 3-2 Boston. And with just 1 minute to play in regulation, with his second of the night, defenseman Brandon Montour, with assists from Carter Verhaeghe and Alex Barkov, he ties that game at 3-3. And as I just mentioned, with his second of the series, Verhaeghe at 8:35 of overtime from Tkachuk and Bennett, 4-3 your final. So that's how we looked in the NHL. And then just to keep John covered for the moment, a couple of games in the NBA tonight. I should say earlier this afternoon. The Miami Heat, the 8th seed, upsetting, at least for the time being, taking care of business against the New York Knicks at MSG. The Heat lead that series now 1-0. And then the Golden State Warriors, with all-round numbers, the final of 120-100 against their opponent in Sacramento against the Kings. The Warriors, led by Steph Curry, who scored 50 points, the highest total for an individual player in a Game 7 in NBA history. Some huge names on that list, including LeBron and some classics. Boy, I thought about Kevin Johnson back with the Suns in the 90s. He had 46, I believe it was, or I think 43 in a Game 7 a few decades prior. So, yeah, your finals in the NBA, 108-101 to the Heat, 120-100 to the Warriors. So the Kings, after making the playoffs for the first time since 2006, they will head to the golf course. But keep an eye on them. You got to think that they're going to want to come back and make a run next year out of the Western Conference. And then, as we talked about on the NHL side, big news with the Maple Leafs, of course, the night ago, finishing off the Tampa Bay Lightning. And they, for the first time since 2004, head to the second round. So I think I heard some rustling, some movement from my partner here. And welcome back, John. Hope you had a nice break, because guess what? I'm going to turn the tables on you, my friend. I'm going to take a break myself in just a moment, but I won't leave you hanging. I just covered the NBA scores. I covered not only the recap of tonight's Panthers-Bruins game, but also looked ahead a bit to looked back a bit to the Maple Leafs finishing off the Lightning.
So there's a lot of that, and the only one that we have left tomorrow, as we said, is the Rangers and the Devils. I will have some of that on the Monday side. Whether or not it'll be a solo call, we will figure that one out as it gets to it, but after that, it'll be a couple off days for me. I've been double dip with the MIHL playoffs for the Waterford Sharks there on that side. I had a lot of fun. It's a lot of different work there as we were trying to get the broadcasts on Wheel TV, and that was a lot of fun on that end. But glad to be able to get back to some NHL action, be able to do so probably for the majority of this week. So here's the thing. In between the Devils and the Rangers, I went ahead and gave my prediction. Again, sometimes predictions aren't really worth anything. We're trying to just give you our thoughts on that side. I'm going to go with the 5-2 scoreline for the Rangers. And why is that important? Because it's the other part of the Metro that's going to finish it off. Carolina's still waiting to see who they're going to play as they dispatch the Islanders. Saw just a little bit of that the other day, and I had my hand in my mouth on that side because I couldn't believe what I ended up seeing off of the goal right out in front. But Carolina, we know about their injuries. We know about everything else that they're dealing with, and now they match up against the team we know well in the Metro and the Rangers. How is that one going to go? I still feel like I might be disingenuous to the Carolina Hurricanes if I say anything less than 6, because their defensive structure is so sound. But yet I always say this, and this ultimately depends on whether or not the Devils can beat the Rangers in 7, but I feel like the Rangers do everything well, and they also have all the same goal scoring that Carolina may or may not because of the injuries. So assuming if the Rangers get out of the series, I'm going to take them against Carolina. But, I mean, that's going to be a big-time Game 7. We'll be all over that. And then I would think later throughout the week, maybe Wednesday, Thursday, when I come back, because I'm going to take the off day on Tuesday, we'll figure out the second round side of it and where we go. Because I think I might lock into the Vegas-Edmonton series. Vegas, again, I apologize to anyone that's been listening on that end. Felt like I kind of picked against you because the Winnipeg Jets got all beat up and you took care of business on that end. But there's a lot of underrated great players on Vegas. I always mention Chandler Stevenson and the faceoff percentage being reunited with Mark Stone. They've looked really good. And we will see if Edmonton can do the same things, because that's another stiff test. And the LA Kings, that was a tough one. But Vegas and Laurent Brossoit, man, he's been excellent.
Yeah, absolutely. And John, just quickly before we continue thoughts on the Vegas side, we could cover a lot of the details there, and I'm sure we will. I know one of our listeners here has been hanging in with us. He likes to frequent the city of Las Vegas, known to take care of business there. Some big winnings. Tip of the cap to you, Jason, for your math skills. So, John, my point though is, let's put Vegas on pause just for a moment, because there were some pretty pointed comments after the game that was lost by the Winnipeg Jets when they were bounced out of the playoffs after just the one victory in their series against the Golden Knights. Tell me what you think about those comments about the Jets, where that team stands, where the franchise is headed, and tell me if you think they're moving in the right direction, because I think things are starting to rumble, and it may not be in a great way there.
So let me just clarify the comments I think that you're talking about, because if there's other ones I wasn't privy to. But Rick Bowness about his team and lack of effort, are those the comments?
Yes, indeed. Yeah, let's Rick Bowness after he had about a 45-second presser after the loss, and he was not mincing words. I think he was well within his right to make that kind of a statement. But listen, that's not going to go over well in the room, and I believe that Scheifele took a little bit of offense to that. I don't think he loved that his coach came with that approach.
No, I mean, on the side of it, it was a 45-second presser, and some of the other broadcasters in there, some of the people in the room and the media were like, did you wait all the way to the end of the year just to give your thoughts? And I said, yes. He goes, I look at our team and I see the tailspin that we went in from January. We were all the way to the top, and we just kind of let our foot off the gas, and I don't think that we gave enough effort. Quite frankly, I'm disgusted, and we're really where we're supposed to be right now. We got our butts kicked by Vegas, and I don't like the way that it's gone. That was essentially verbatim the way that Rick Bowness said it. And look, I can understand alongside, I'm going to say this, from his comments in the January side, we looked about it in the Central. Didn't Winnipeg seem like one of those teams that might come all the way out and take it? Everybody seemed to play well. But I guess the one thing I would say, if I'm Scheifele, I want to look at those comments in a vacuum. And I'm not going to say this, and hopefully Scheifele knows this. Bowness isn't saying those comments in the first round against Vegas. He understood that Vegas was the better team. They were just so berated from injuries on that side in between Scheifele, Ehlers, Morrissey. It was all over the place. I mean, there was nothing that they could do. So, granted, they gave their effort in Game 5. The empty net was pulled, I think, with 8:15 left to go in the fourth. They scored a couple goals. Only one of them stood. But, yeah, I mean, from that January side, when they looked like a completely different team, I could understand Bowness's comments. But if you turn the reversal card, that Uno reverse, some of that's got to fall on Rick Bowness.
Yeah, and speaking of fall, and not to continue to put you on the spot, I mean, I guess this is technically a yes or no question. Do you think that Rick Bowness will continue to be the head coach of the Winnipeg Jets?
Dallas said no on that side. Winnipeg might say no as well. I'm leaning probably 70-30 no.
Yeah, I think you and I feel the same, and I might even bump that up to 80-20.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a ton of respect for him. I mean, I've been obviously aware of him as head coach for a number of years, of course, but haven't, paid ultra close attention. But after that Dallas series against the Flames, and then now this one against the Knights, and knowing that he's very willing to express himself without much of a filter, I mean, I can respect that.
Yeah.
I just think that there will be repercussions, and I don't. You insinuated this a moment ago. I don't think it'll be directly because of those statements, but more so the way the team faltered as they came down the stretch.
And look, I mean, you can talk about this in the sense of what's connected and between the Chicago Blackhawks and the fallout between all the stuff that was going on. Kevin Shovel-Dayoff is also part of that piece, who's now the GM of the Winnipeg Jets. Might be an easy way to get Shovel-Dayoff and Bowness out of there.
Yeah, and Shovel-Dayoff, who's I honestly did not realize this and had to confirm it. I couldn't believe that this was true. Has been the GM since the team moved to Winnipeg, since they left Atlanta and became the Jets once again. I was stunned by that, and it might be time for a fresh perspective there in Winnipeg.
Yeah, we will see what ends up going across, because I know the last time I talked to you, we got right into the playoff coverage, and we could discuss everything with Brad Treliving. He's on his way out on the Calgary side, and then we get the chance to see Matthew Tkachuk moving on in the postseason. So I know it's probably bittersweet for you, my friend, on that end, but you also have Seattle currently up in Game 7 against Colorado. So I guess not all hope is lost there on that side. We know what Calgary is still going to be next year. They're still within the playoff grasp of it, and Seattle might be getting new horizons. They're trying to do this with every single passing day.
Yes, they are, and it's actually really nice, just on a personal note, it's really nice not only to call games for a Seattle team, but it's a different kind of fandom. It's new, right? I mean, obviously, it's literally the hometown team, but just because I've been a Flames fan since I was a little kid, I was a little boy. My grandpa lived there for many, many years, and that just became the team that I paid attention to and would read about in the Seattle Times. I would follow the box scores when they would play Vancouver and try to get any newspaper clippings I could. Man, I'm old. I sound old.
Me too.
But the Kraken are so new. It's nice to be able to jump on the Kraken bandwagon, feel like it's legit, but then also still have, it's new enough and it's not deeply emblazoned upon my heart that when, if something goes sideways, like the other night, 4-1 loss for Seattle, I didn't pull the blanket up over my head and sob myself to sleep. I was able to move forward and know that we'd have this chance to call a Game 7 and have it be really exciting, and boy, it certainly has been. I definitely hope, John, that the Kraken are able to pull it out, but you know what? With the way the Avalanche have been playing, too, if they continue to do this, not only are they going to be dangerous tonight, but they would be dangerous against anyone they face coming out of the West. And hey, they could even repeat. This is what MacKinnon, Rantanen, and company can do.
Yeah, and again, as we talked about, between their opponent that's waiting, it's the Dallas Stars. In the series, whoever they get, it's going to be great.
Yeah, no question about it. And all right, let's have a little fun. And we've done this before, John, when it's been a tie game. We obviously covered a lot of Flames games this regular season. They went to overtime a ton. We would always be fair, and we would try to pick who do you think your goal scorer is going to be in overtime. We would say, whoever they were playing, the Preds or whomever it was, we'd pick a goal scorer, and then we'd pick a goal scorer for the Flames. It would always be the opponent. But tonight, we're going into the third, right? It's a 2-1 lead for the Kraken. I feel like we're getting at least one more goal for each squad. So let's have some fun. Who do you think, if it happens, who do you think's putting one in for the Avs? Who do you think's putting one in for the Seattle?
So, open record here, I'm going to leave Rantanen and MacKinnon open for you. I will go ahead with Cale Makar for the Avalanche, and I'm going to go with my boy on the other end because I'm wearing the jersey. He's been all over it, Matty Beniers for the Kraken.
Yeah, I like that a ton, and I'm going to go as we get ready for the puck drop here to start the third period. I'm going to say it's going to be Evan Rodriguez for the home team, and you know what? I'm calling the hat trick. I think Bjorkstrand is on one tonight, and I think he finds number 3. So, John, I'll keep it going here because I know that you have had tons of work lately, and there's 8 seconds in, an icing call. So we're going to have a face-off near Grubauer momentarily.
I wanted to make sure anyway, you're going to be able to call this at the end of it. This is your team. I don't want to step all over it, but if you ever need me to jump in, I will.
You got it, pal. So we'll keep an eye on those things. We'll see how the voice does. If I start breaking down, then I need to call in the pro. And luckily you're on the broadcast with me. So, again, it's 2-1. Seattle has the lead. It was 2-0 until about 30 seconds to go in the second. It was a power play goal from Mr. Nathan MacKinnon to cut that lead in half. So the Kraken are out there right now. The puck just floated behind Gurkiev, and he tried to clear that one out, couldn't do so. It's sent back to the near point, and right there are the Seattle Kraken, where they're going to hold this one in. MacKinnon did a nice job on the check right there, but Bjorkstrand has it. He's my call. He's going to try to spin this one around. He looks for that forehand shot on the near side, but it goes off of Toews' skate. So the Avalanche will carry out of their own zone. They're going to skate this one forward, but it's turned over and dropped off right now. It is held by Colorado, and they send this one back to no man's land. It's got to be chased down right there by MacKinnon. And he holds in, make that Girard, 49, not 29. So a minute into the third period, the Avalanche chip this one along the far boards, but no one home. So Grubauer comes out of his net. He's going to forehand this one along, but it's off his skate and now at the far corner. Bit of a dangerous play right there, but the Kraken will come away with the puck and then cross-ice this one. It bounces off the skate of one of the Avs, so a delayed offside call. They can't touch it, have to head back to neutral ice. Good job right there by Schultz of Seattle to put some pressure on, but the puck is now on Colorado's stick, and there is a shot to the far post. I think that's by Rodriguez. Boy, I almost spoke that into existence, John. I called number 9 in maroon, and he almost made it 2-2. Just sailed it a little bit wide. I think maybe once again, Grubauer just got a piece with the glove. I'm sure we'll get a replay. So a little over 90 seconds in here in this third period. The Avalanche, yet again, seeming to have the run of play when it comes to cycling in the offensive zone. But the Kraken doing a good job to try to stave them off right now. And a shot from distance bounces off a body. That's got to be another shot block for Seattle. Sprong right there on the forecheck for the Kraken. He's able to do a good job and now gets the puck back. He shoots one. Nice little quick wrister from the near circle. And now he sends that back to a teammate. That's going to be Adam Larsson. And now the puck is frozen. And we will have a stoppage with 17:51 to go in the third.
So the strategy that we talked about going into the second intermission has repeated itself now. Sprong able to get open and kind of play this off the backhand toward the right side wall, but it's been all puck possession and movement. And both of the goal scorers that Cooper Hopkins picked on both sides got the first primo opportunities of the third period.
What can I say, John? It was, Bjorkstrand. I thought he might try to go backhand, but he spun for the forehand, and he puts it off of his skate, and then, my goodness, Rodriguez whips one just wide of that crossbar. So here we go. 29 shots for the Avs, 17 for Seattle again, 2-1. And guess who's back on the ice? It's Nathan MacKinnon. He's going to be out there in this third a lot. Now, a puck sent in from the blue line on the Kraken side. That one skitters by the blue paint. No danger for Grubauer. He just kept an eye on it as it heads to the near half wall. Now, somebody lost the stick. It's one of the Kraken. So the Avalanche have it. Nice dance right there. Here's McKinnon tying the game. Not even 3 minutes into the third, John, a slapper from up top between the circles. It's 2-2.
That's why we left him open for season. I think it'd be unfair for both of us to take him. Mikko Rantanen with a beautiful dipsy doodle caught everybody mesmerized. The stick got knocked out of the hand of one of the Kraken, and then Nathan MacKinnon wide open in between the circles. This is just a gorgeous move for Rantanen. Able to get around Bjorkstrand, set up MacKinnon, no problem. One knee, one timer, and it's a tie game.
Boy, why would we pick anyone else, John?
No.
It's gonna be 29. It's Cerulean and Maru. Now,
here we go.
Look. Yep. No, sorry, John. I didn't mean to step on you there. I think we're getting a replay to see if Rantanen was potentially offside, but he looks like he is holding that left skate over the blue line. But is one of the other Avalanche offside on the play? Could that be
Lehkonen?
I'm trying to get it. It is Lehkonen. Yes, thank you. I thought that was 5-2. I was about to say that's 52. Who's that? That's Lehkonen. Yes, John. I think this one's coming back.
Lehkonen's offsides on my screen, Cooper.
Yep, and I apologize. I didn't mean to step all over you there. I think you had the view before I did. Boy, Lehkonen is, I would say, a foot and a half offside. Yep. So I know for Alec and Jason listening, if you have the feed on, that's fantastic. You're probably seeing the same thing that we are. But my goodness, it's 2-2 for the moment. But John, unless we are completely losing our minds, here's another look right up the blue line. Yep, Lehkonen is clearly offside. Here's the call. There is the wave of the hands, John. We are back to 2-1. A huge development tonight.
I know the Colorado fans aren't going to like it. That one was as plain as day. But if I'm Seattle, you can't allow Rantanen to sing that same old song and dance and set up number 29. That's got to be better.
No, you're absolutely right. You can see it on the face of Dave Hakstol right there, all seriousness. And some of these fans with their hands in the air, I don't know if that's the right play right there. I think if they got a clear replay on the big board at Ball Arena, you can see exactly what we did. And that was a very quick decision with good reason. That was offside. And, boy, the referee right there having to separate Compher and Cartier. So the 22-year-old not going to be pushed around as Matty Beniers is going to go against Eller and tries to win this face-off. He does. So Cartier gets the puck there near his own player's bench, but it bounces off some skates. And the Kraken are having to chase this one down right now. They can't get the puck. That one was centered, looking for none other than Rodriguez. My pick for the Avalanche to score, but the pass was not connected. Now Rodriguez does have it. He wants to tap this one back to the blue line, but it's off of a skate, make it a stick, and that's one that's going to be carried up by Eberle and Beniers. Now dropped off to the far point. Chasing down the puck is Matty Beniers. He gets just enough on this pass. Here's a slapper from way outside. I don't know how Gurdiev saw it. It was 88 miles an hour by Larsson, who slaps his knee pads, and Gurdiev freezes it for the faceoff.
I'm going to tell you this, Cooper. I know it's obvious, but between Cartier and Matty Beniers on this first line, boy, I like the poise that they played with here in a Game 7. They look good.
Yeah, no question about it. And you said it in very simple terms. I mean, we're talking about an AHLer who had his first game in the big leagues a couple of nights ago. He's getting first-line minutes, and he's earned them. He looks great. So here we are with just about 3 minutes still elapsed here, and the shot's going to come, a pass going to be sent around the end boards, and the Kraken looking to hang on to it, but they can't do so right there as the Avalanche are going to try to carry this one away, but the puck bounces right back to the far corner one more time. It's being battled for there by Johnson. Also in on that is, oh my gosh, well, it's Eric Johnson and then the other Johnson. So the Johnson boys are out for the Avalanche right now on the defensive side. And the Colorado Avs will come away with this thing in neutral ice, but it bounces away from everyone. And I think we're going to get an offside call here. Plays whistle down as the puck entered the Seattle zone.
So here's our reset that we got to do every once in a while. 16:38 left in the third. The shot board reads 31-20 in favor of the Avalanche. We will see how much that continues to climb.
Yes, indeed. So let's keep an eye on that one as this third period continues. About 3.5 minutes have gone here in this stanza. Again, 2-1 Seattle. It was 2-2 after MacKinnon wheeled and slammed one home from up top between the circles. But Lehkonen offside on the play, so the goal is wiped away. 2-1. Right now, a nice stick check right there by Oliver Bjorkstrand. He has both goals for the Kraken. Now he is speeding down the near wall. He looks for the puck against Toews in the corner. It's going to slide at the trapezoid. And this one will be taken away by Lehkonen, who was offside, as I mentioned a moment ago. And here come 2-on-2, Nathan MacKinnon and the very dangerous Rantanen. Now this one tapped out to the blue line, but not all the way out of the zone. So MacKinnon chasing the puck down, where he is double-teamed right there. And Yanni Gourde able to pass this one away, but not out. And finally, Seattle will get this one back to neutral ice. 15 minutes, 48 seconds to play here in the third. Cooper Hopkins with you on the play-by-play, along with John Ott on the color side. And we have got Colorado in the O-zone yet again, but an errant pass is picked up right there by the Kraken and carried out by Donato. So this one's fired in on Gurgiev from distance, and he will hold it with the big trapper, and we'll get a face-off.
So I know it's 15:34 left to go in the third, but honestly, I'm just saying Nathan MacKinnon feels like he's been out there for about 4 minutes already to start this third period. I know it's no surprise, but you're going to have to call that timeout here pretty soon, probably about the next 10 minutes. You're going to have to keep 29 fresh here because he's looked superhuman in this game.
Yeah, he absolutely has, and he by all rights should have 2 goals. It's just a little bit of bad luck, a little bit of bad timing by his line mate. Otherwise, this thing would be knotted at 2. 20 shots for Seattle, 29 for Colorado. There's a face-off to Gurgiev's left, and this one is ultimately taken away by the Avs. So it's carried right there by Byram. He's going to look to fire it up the far wall. It's chipped along. Kraken will chase down, as will, I think I was about to say MacKinnon, but we did see him a moment ago getting a rest. That's Eller, and the puck's carried away by Seattle. Chip and chase right now. Wearing lucky number 7 is Eberle for the Kraken. And the puck is picked up there by Rodriguez. He'll set this one back to Byram. Byram now holds, and he's patient in front of his goaltender in his own end. Inside 15 minutes to play here as the pass is gently across for a teammate. And sent over to the near boards. It's Newhook. And right there, the puck bounces around, and we're going to get a whistle. And, John, I think we again have an offside there. I apologize. I'm missing some of these quick calls, but play has been whistled dead for a face-off.
Well, that's what we got right now. Again, they're just talking about on the TNT side about keeping both benches sharp and rolling their lines as we see 29 yet again on the ice.
Yeah, he's getting about half a shift of rest, and then he's getting about a double shift at minimum. So big credit to these guys in Cerulean and Maroon for, they got the cardio, they got the muscle, they got the skills, they have the know-how. They have the puck on their sticks more often than not. That is the case at the moment with 14:35 here to go in the third. Wheeling and firing a slapper, but only getting partial contact on it was Lehkonen, and then the puck is just sent out into the neutral zone before it gets bounced back in. MacKinnon, a little surprised to see that whistle blown, but it was for offside, so yet another face-off, John.
Yeah, Lehkonen is the guy that I would think Seattle, out of all the personnel between Makar, Rantanen, and MacKinnon, let the one shoot the puck, and that's what they're trying to leave open if you're Seattle.
Yes, indeed. So Rantanen right now with that backhand face-off win, a nice clean one in the neutral zone. That one's going to go D to D and is sent deep into the Seattle Kraken end. So right now, Yanni Gourde, he finds the puck, chips it out, but only to the A logo at center ice here at Ball Arena. And chipping off the boards to himself was Rantanen, and there's a shot right onto Grubauer. He saw it through some legs, and he makes the save right on that S logo on his chest.
Yeah, when you got 96 and 29 is Cale Makar with a sweet little spin move, plays it across the wall. And this first line, they're as good as anybody in the league. I would take them as the tops.
Yeah, tough to argue, especially when you see what they've been doing this evening. And it's just still hard to believe. We cannot say it enough. And it is the current storyline as Makar shakes his head on the bench. Grubauer has been absolutely wonderful in this contest. And I don't expect that to change. It looks like he has been unflappable. And the Kraken are absolutely, John, going to need him through the remainder of this matchup. Just over 14 to play. And the Avalanche keep pushing. But for the moment, the Kraken win a nice face-off in their own zone. So a good D win right there. And boy, one of the Avs, fell down. and I think that may have been Eller. Trying to get a number on that one. Actually, in fact, it was Devon Toews of Bjorkstrand was in on that one, and the Kraken created a little pressure momentarily. Bjorkstrand looking for number 3 tonight, John.
So Bjorkstrand undid the hinges of Georgiev's mask, looking for his third as we go to break.
You're right. Actually, I just got a quick look at that replay in slow motion, and I think Georgiev got a piece off the shoulder. It does contact the mask, and then the puck ricochets off of the crossbar. So Bjorkstrand just a couple inches away.
I want to mention this too. I know this is going to be a little bit of repeat, but this is only because it's Game 7 and what you just talked about. So I'll try not to kill this too much. But you're talking about the double shifting. That time it was Compher at the center spot with MacKinnon on the wing. So he's definitely going to be on 1, 2, 3. Mix it wherever you can between the centerman and the off wing. Maybe even with Rantanen just to keep MacKinnon fresh as possible.
Yeah, that's a good point, John. Thanks for making us aware of that. And Jared Bednar, the bench boss for the Avalanche, he's going to do everything necessary, and by everything I mean
everything.
Just put 29 on the ice. Just put him out. Just put him out. 29, 96, 62. Just put him out. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, they've looked really good throughout this whole game, and I just want to give a little bit of a reset on the ESPN part of the box. So the shots are officially right now 29-22 in this break. The hits are really in favor of Seattle, 35-18. And again, I think that's kind of stayed that way because of the score line. Faceoffs are the edge for the Avalanche, 26-20. That is of note because of the amount of teams they have in the league. Seattle is bottom third in the faceoff percentage. They're one of the worst on that side. But they've kept this largely to even strength because the one power play tally was Vince Dunn that got a tripping. It was MacKinnon with the Rocket that got a goal here for Colorado. The good is it still sits 2-1. But Georgiev on that chance from Bjorkstrand, man, it put a piece of that mask up on the back. I'm not sure what else that hit, but we saw something fly off the mask of Georgiev with the slow-mo replay.
Yeah, boy, that's a great point, John. It did actually have so much of an impact that something flew off the mask there, and Georgiev's going to the backup. That's, the backup mask, not his backup goaltender.
No, we are not going to see on the other end for Pavel Francois, not the way that these two guys are playing. These goalies have been fantastic in this game.
Yes, they have. And my goodness, with 2 goals tonight, it's 4 points in the series for number 22. So add those up. And that's Oliver Bjorkstrand. Georgiev now has kind of the silver and black mask, and now he's going with a little more of the color scheme, John. And he has now cerulean and maroon on his mask, that backup Bauer cage, and number 40 on the chin plate. And it's going to be a face-off to his right inside 14 minutes to go here in the third period at Ball Arena. Game 7 between the Seattle Kraken, their first Game 7 in history. As John, this one is bounced from distance off of the end boards, and Compher comes flying through with a clean chance. Another huge stop for the Grubauer man. Unreal.
A 200-foot pass all the way down the ice. Grubauer comes all the way out to cut out the angle on Compher. I mean, that is perfect. And Grubauer, he's got his A++ game right now.
Absolutely. Add that second plus. That is a good point by you, pal. Grubauer with a huge stop. How many times have we said it? I'm really not sure how Compher doesn't make it 2-2 right there. It's a bang-bang play, but he had a clean look at least part of an open net. So right now, 13:40 to go here. It's 2-1 Seattle again in this Game 7 from Denver. And the Kraken moving left to right on your radio dials. The Avalanche moving right to left in their home maroon. Seattle in those road white. So speaking of which, one of those is streaking up the near boards. That's number 37, Yanni. Gourde. Going to send this one along to the far corner behind Georgiev. And now the puck bounces off the back of the cage. It'll be picked up there as one of the Kraken goes down. I think that was Tolvanen who tumbled near the blue line on the Colorado side. And the Kraken right now, we're going to control the puck with Jamie Oleksiak, the former Dallas Star. Going to send this one along the far boards. Nice ricochet right there. And chasing down are the Kraken. Georgiev comes out to play it. He got it to it just in time. Matty Beniers and that first line are on for the visitors. It's picked up right there by Adam Larsson. He gets rubbed off the puck right there by Byram, but the possession is held by Seattle. It's now in the near corner. Backhanded along. The referee in the way. Matty Beniers tries to get clear. He was moving toward the net, but the puck bounces to the Avalanche. Now off of a skate that was off of the back of Matty Beniers' skate. So the Kraken will hang on to it. This is some of the more extended possession they've had in the third period. They like to counterattack. They've done so a number of times tonight and have been very dangerous when doing so. 12 minutes, 25 seconds to go here, and the Kraken have it in their own end. They're looking for that angled pass, bounces off the wall, and now here comes Turbo Tanev. He is on the move. One of the grinders, number 13 for Seattle, and he's in the trapezoid area with Daniel Sprong. Puck is going to be sent out to neutral ice right now, and it's chipped forward and out of play by Schultz. So we'll have a face-off, John, and there's another shot at Nathan MacKinnon. He's on the bench, but you can't imagine for very long.
No, you can. On the other end, I know it's a simple play for Justin Schultz, but that's a good step through across the Avalanche logo to deny the space. And if you're going to clear it, you can fire it into the player's bench with no recourse on that end. So good job by Schultz.
Yeah, no question about it. Got to be clear that if you send it out to the fans from your own zone, that is a 2-minute penalty for delay of game. But he was neutralized there. The puck goes out near the players. So we play on at 5-on-5, which is, as we've talked about, exactly what Seattle wants. So now, inside 12 minutes to play, here come the Avalanche. They send this one over to, that's right in the slot. And John, how is that out? That was pushed away by the right pad of Grubauer. The Avalanche right there threatening, and that was Devon Toews. And I couldn't get a second number there, but just a great bang-bang play. Grubauer, again, standing on his head. Now the Kraken separate the Avs from the puck. It's Bjorkstrand's line out with Gourde. And now the Kraken have it at the red line, center ice. They'll hold near their own blue line. And it's back to, I believe that is Larsson. And so that one's sent across to the far boards. And the battle for the puck is near the left point. Now the shot goes well wide. Bjorkstrand tries to keep it in. He will be able to do so. It's back near the far half boards. Puck now picked up by the Avalanche. A great back pass, and on his horse is Nathan MacKinnon. And it's at the far corner to the left of Grubauer, and coming away with that right there is Dunn for Seattle. 10 minutes, 55 seconds to play here in the third. A couple minutes seem to go every time I check that clock. I know that Seattle's doing so as well, and all the Kraken fans across the country. So the Avalanche taking it their own blue line. Look for the stretch pass and connect it. Compher gets it in the near corner. We are at Ball Arena, 2-1 Seattle with 10 minutes and 35 seconds to play. The Kraken looking to battle for the puck in the trapezoid behind Grubauer with Matty Beniers. He does a nice job right there sending it to Donato. He's got some room to work. Donato avoids a check right there, spins around near the penalty boxes. And the puck is sent along to the cage area by Georgiev. Now here come the Avalanche the other way, but the Kraken have numbers back. Good check right there by Alexiak, and a massive body check going down to the ice is Donato. Couldn't get the hitter, but the hittee was Donato, wearing number 9 for the Seattle Kraken. He bounces back up right away, though. Doesn't seem to be worse for wear, John, but the checking has definitely ramped it up in the last couple of minutes. We are now inside 10 minutes to play in the third. Holding the puck behind Georgiev for the Avalanche is number 3, Johnson, and he's going to send this one along the far wall. That one bounces to the right circle, and the Kraken will take it over, chip it off the kick plate, and a nice battle for the puck right there, but it's taken away by the Avs at center ice. Battling near the player benches. Multiple players, including Schwartz for Seattle. It's sent back along all the way to big number 40 with the paddle in goal for the Avs. Now here comes Mikko Rantanen. He's got the puck on his stick with that left-hand shot. Going to try to sneak it through Gourde. He does so. Dunn tries to put some pressure on it. Guess who's got it? It's Nathan MacKinnon. That one from distance is loose in front. In front of the blue paint. Nathan McKinnon's ice time creeping up to 22 minutes. He's going to shoot from distance again. And this one's going to bounce off of a stick and all the way back down the ice. This might be an icing call. And yes, it will be. I think the Kraken needed that one because McKinnon, again, inches away from scoring.
You want to talk about locked in. McKinnon just came back on the ice. He's got this near the right dot, couple pirouette spins. Rantanen trying to look for a deflection. It's loose near the left side of the blue paint and just gets brushed aside with the left pad. My goodness, 9:03 left in regulation.
Yes, indeed. 30 saves on 31 shots faced tonight for number 31, Philip Grubauer, in net for the Kraken. And we just got a close-up shot of McKinnon on the bench. Boy, all the credit in the world to him. You can see him breathing hard for the first time tonight, and we are inside 9 minutes to play. He's basically been on the ice for 23 minutes of this contest, and the puck is up and into the crowd, so we will get another face-off, John, and this one is on a knife's edge, my friend.
Yes, it is, and we'll even belabor that point again on that side. He was put in, that was a good angle. He was put in there with Matt Nieto on the third line for Jared Bednar's squad, was Nathan MacKinnon. So I imagine anytime he goes to his coach and asks if he want in, he's going to be allowed that. And as we talk about it, we're at that knife's edge. And I would think within the next 3 minutes here, maybe Jared Bednar uses that timeout just so you can maybe even triple shift at a point in your top line. Would I ever think I was going to say that? No. But that's how good they've been right now. And you want to be able to, whether you win, lose, or draw this thing, Cooper, go with the horses that got you there. And this first line for the Avalanche, they've been towing this all the way through. I think they still have a chance at it. They have 5-1 in the danger chances in the third period. I'm not saying Seattle is playing all the way in their own end, but this might be the point in time where I call it. I think they might start to shell up now, considering how much time is left, as you're around 8 minutes.
Yeah, and this is a really interesting point in this period, John, not only because of the type of play that we've seen from both of these teams. I don't want to claim by any stretch that Seattle has gone into a shell, but have we seen really any notable extended ozone time from them so far in the third?
Not right now.
Right. So yeah, we fundamentally agree on that one, and I think what we're seeing much more clearly is that Colorado has done what they've done throughout the majority of this game. They've had more success setting up their ozone presence, cycling the puck, finding lanes, setting up passes, and relatively clean shot attempts. Now, big credit to those defenders and those forwards as well for the Kraken getting in those shooting lanes and blocking shots. Is that sustainable? I don't know. I mean, they've been able to do it basically with almost 100% success, other than one exception when they're on the penalty kill. Can they do it for 8 more minutes? That's to be determined. And then pretty soon, John, when we get a stoppage, we're going to have to ask each other if this scoreline stays the same. At what point do you pull the goaltender for the Avs? So lots of decisions to be made by Dave Hakstol for Seattle and Jared Bednar for Colorado. Of course, we officially have 8:57 to play here, and a nice ozone win. Another clean face-off win for the home team. And that puck is deflected just wide of the near post, John. It was Lehkonen. That came in from Makar, I believe. So a definite set play off of the face-off win. And the puck bounces out of the neutral zone all the way back to the Colorado side of things. 8:30 to go. It's now 23 shots for Seattle, 32 for the Avalanche. In this period, it's 6 shots for Colorado and 5 for Seattle. And you got to figure that number is going to creep up for the Avs as they are putting the pressure on without question. 8:20 to play now. Here the puck bouncing near the high slot. It's loose. Bounces back toward the slot. Now picked up there by Seattle. That one was grabbed by Will Borgen. It's at the far half boards in the Seattle end. It's floated up into the sky and falls back down to the ice surface where it's taken by Colorado. 8 minutes to go now, and there's a turnover. This one chipped. It's a 3-on-1 for Seattle. There's a pass across, and this one's saved by Gergiev, John. I think he got a piece with the paddle. It probably should be 3-1 right there, and it would have been Bjorkstrand's hat trick. But inside, 7:48 to go now, and the puck is held by Toews of Colorado. He surveys the scene and sends this one up into the neutral zone. This puck's now sent along off the near corner and bouncing around, where it's going to be picked up by Yanni Gourde. Boy, a dangerous pass right there to the slot. But I'll leave it to the professionals to make those decisions. He found a teammate pretty cleanly there. So now, John, I'm just going to keep noting that time as it ticks down. 7:22 to go here. 2-1 Seattle in this game 7. The winner will move on to face the Dallas Stars. So here we go with the Avalanche with the puck at the near corner. It's held right there by Rodriguez. Goes for the wheel shot where it's off of a leg. I think that bounced off of Adam Larsson and just out of the zone. The Avs come back in onside zone. Here's Dunn backhanding this thing along the near boards. It's going to go all the way to Eberle. Eberle now 2-on-2. He's going to drop this one off, and the Kraken will make a change. It's being held at the far boards by Ryan Donato. He gets bounced off the puck right there, and the Colorado Avalanche will come right back. They're going to skate this one to the neutral zone. It's MacKinnon. He's going to try to do it himself. The puck is sticked off of his oh my goodness, John, I thought it was 2-2 there. The puck was bounced off McKinnon's stick blade, picked up by a teammate, and fired just wide to Grubauer's right. 6:33 to go here in the third period. The Kraken looking to possess in the near corner to Gergiev's left. But the Avalanche, boy, I'm starting to repeat myself here. They come away with it, and we'll skate this thing through the neutral zone. It's poked along right there by Johnson and held to, that is Grubauer's right, although nice job by Seattle. They get the pressure of the Avalanche almost and use it against them, where they can get their change. They chip that puck down to the near corner. Oleksiak was battling for it. He's a defenseman there on a forecheck. Now the puck was sort of stretched past back to the neutral ice area, where it's sent back in. Now the Kraken just trying to kind of cycle this thing from teammate to teammate. Right now, Tolman is battling for the puck. Bjorkstrand, a nice job right there. Again, a one-handed stick check. They've done a great job with those throughout the evening tonight. You can see the Colorado fans waving those towels, the pom-poms, trying to get their team motivated, trying to give them a little extra push here as we have just 5.5 minutes to go in this Game 7. So here comes Colorado. This one's skated up the near boards by number 29, Ethan McKinnon, and the puck went through one of the legs of one of the Kraken and was basically a shot right on. Grubauer had to stop on the left pad. Now Rodriguez goes down. The fans caught a penalty. Everyone jumping on their feet, and I'm not sure how there's not a tripping call there. Now Beniers sends it to the far circle. A blocker saved by Gurkiev. The puck bounces to the far corner. It's held by the Avs. They'll try to cycle this one back behind their own net. It's held there by Rodriguez again, who I thought was tripped, but apparently was not. Now the puck goes to Byram. He's up the left side. Now this one chipped away at the Seattle blue line. It bounced off of one of the Avalanche back. And Morgan Geeky waves at that thing a couple of times. John, we're inside 5 minutes to play. Alec and Jason, thank you guys so much for being along on this ride with us. The Kraken are 4 minutes and 45 seconds away from taking this series with this 2-1 lead. Can they hold it? Can they build upon it? Colorado is going to have a lot to say about that with 4.5 to go. Now this one passed along back to the top of the circle. Grubauer can't find it. He's trying to push one of the Avalanche away from his own net. He was tied up with one of the Seattle guys. And so now 33 shots for Colorado, 25 for Seattle. This one's chipped right there by Will Borgen of the Kraken, but the puck will end up going back to the near corner in the Seattle end. It's held right there by the Kraken. Bjorkstrand back out on the ice for Seattle. Now the Kraken come away with it. They're going to streak this one over. Here comes Bjorkstrand. He tries to put a move on Girard. Can't get a shot off, but Gourde comes away with the puck. Well, he was checked right there, but did a good job to stay on his skates. Now Borgen's going to skate back. Seattle is starting, John, to go into that shell here a little bit. Not too much of a forecheck. They're going to stay back in the neutral zone and play a little bit of a trap. There was a nice stretch pass right there. It was picked up by O'Connor of the Avalanche. And we have not said Nathan MacKinnon's name, John, in a couple of minutes here, which is a surprise, as the puck is held by the Avs. We'll see if number 29 comes back out on the ice for the Cerulean and Maroon. And I think there may have been a puck into the player's bench, because with 3:37 to play in this third period, John, we have a stoppage and a face-off coming up.
I would say great work by you, because you had the extended play all over you, and that's why we have broadcast professionals on both sides. Again, we appreciate you guys following along on that end. I had a very long day on that side, so I'm glad to be able to be joined by Cooper, be able to call these other two periods of what we hope is going to be regulation on that side for my friend. But as you said, I'm going to throw this out there too. That long stretch of play, that's just going to make sure that Nathan MacKinnon couldn't get back on the ice until we get to this commercial break now. So Bednar still got that timeout in his back pocket. And let's just throw this out there. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if the Avalanche happen to tie it and we go to OT, does Jared Bednar go back to his normal line rotations? Because he's got to know that line numero uno is very, very dog tired.
Yeah, I think so. But I think what we do is, what we see, I should say, and what Jared Bednar will do is essentially rewind all the way back to the very beginning of this game. Now, we saw a healthy dose of Nathan MacKinnon and Rantanen and Lehkonen. I think we still see a healthy dose, but he essentially treats it like a brand new hockey game where they sort of revert to their initial strategies. I don't think that he's going to continue to if we reach overtime, to double shift those guys, because, it could be a long night. We have two goaltenders playing very, very well. We're not talking about a 4-2, 4-3 hockey game as we expected, John. We're talking about 2-1. And if it weren't for offside, this thing would be tied and headed directly for OT.
Yeah, and from what we talk about with these goaltenders, it absolutely should be that score line, but they've been that good. And Gurgiev's been really good too. He just hasn't been tested as much, and that's kind of gone the way between 6 and 7 now. But Philip Grubauer, man, it's a coming out party for the Seattle Kraken. You had a little bit of that with the Avs, but they were kind of wondering, Seattle, if they were going to get this type of goaltender coming over from Colorado. He's certainly been his best self in this series.
Yep, and as we come back to the TNT feed here, the closest two players to Bednar on the bench are Rantanen and MacKinnon. On the ice right now for the Avs, Eller, Lehkonen, Newhook, Myers, O'Connor. We'll see if that stays as the group that takes this face-off. And immediately I'm corrected. I see Rantanen jumping over the boards, and I see MacKinnon doing the same. So should be no surprise there. I should have known better after immediate timeout. basically that's a break right there. And John, we're going to have a face-off at center ice on that Avalanche A logo, and it is one, yet again, that is certainly a refrain here in this third period, but throughout the game, the Avalanche have done great in the face-off circle. 3.5 to go here in the third. This puck bounces out front. MacKinnon fires. I don't think Grubauer was in position. There was a blocked shot right there. I think that credit goes to number 24, Jamie Oleksiak. Boy, he slid down in front, and now Gurdjieff dives. He gets the puck out to Bjorkstrand. He's going to try to fire on an open net. Gurdjieff is way out of the crease. He had to go out to poke check that thing. It could have easily been 3-1, but Bjorkstrand couldn't get enough on it to settle it down and turn and fire. What a sequence right there. MacKinnon almost ties it, and Bjorkstrand, again, just about a half second away from getting his hat trick. Inside 3 minutes now, the puck bouncing toward the near boards on the Seattle side, and here comes the Kraken. They got it up the near wall. There's a shot right on. Boy, tried to go 5-hole in Schultz, and that one is turned aside, and the play is whistled down. John, 2:44 to go. I pose the question to you, my friend. When do we see Gurdjieff head to the bench?
It's got to be within the next 30 seconds. We're taking a look at Gurdjieff, and this is no kidding. He's diving on in between the middle of a slot just to try to make a play. And then when his heart's beating an extra minute, he gets a right pad save when he hasn't seen a lot of work of late. So good work there by Alexander.
Yeah, absolutely. A big tip of the cap to number 40 in net for the Avs. And you know what? That first goal by Bjorkstrand certainly does not hang over Gurdjieff's head.
No.
It's basically 1-1 when you talk about what the goalies have let in tonight. And you could even make an argument about that. But you can make no argument that this faceoff is, in fact, taking place to Gurdjieff's left. He is set up in position, and guess what? Getting waved out of the circle right there is Wenberg, the former Columbus Blue Jacket. So Short steps in and promptly loses a faceoff in the O-zone. Tanev out on the ice as well for Seattle. 34 shots, Colorado 26. Seattle, it's 2-1 in Game 7. Here in Denver, 2 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock. Possession right now held by the Kraken. You can see the Colorado Avalanche scrambling back every time Seattle takes the puck as they are putting so much pressure and trying to get that tying goal. Wenberg battling with O'Connor. O'Connor will come away with it. 2 minutes, 15 seconds to go now. Good job by the Kraken on the forecheck. The puck was bounced back to Gurdjieff, where he had to play the puck in the trapezoid. Another good forecheck right there, and on a change, the puck is stolen. And it's, oh my gosh, John, I thought it was 3-1. I truly did. That was off the bar. The Kraken had been so close to that insurance goal, and Gurdjieff now on a shot by Larsson makes a casual glove save and shaking his head. Was it Bjorkstrand stoned again? How many times has he been denied of getting number 3?
He could have had 4. He said 2 crossbars.
Absolutely unreal. He has been locked on tonight. Number 22 in white has basically been like number 29 in red. Bjorkstrand shakes his head. I think he knows he had the hat trick right there and potentially the series. But John, with a minute and 58 to go, Bjorkstrand still shaking his head as he heads to the bench. And Hakstol gathering the troops. I think, John, we're going to have a timeout called by Seattle.
Interesting.
They're going to catch their breath. And they're going to strategize that they're going to try to kill the last minute and 58 seconds in this third period. Man, what drama.
Hey, look, I'm not saying this isn't the right call to do. You want to make sure that all the troops are organized and know exactly what they want to do. But this time out, you know what that's going to give on the other side for the top line?
Yeah, you know you're facing them. I think they know they're facing them no matter what. You know it's the MacKinnon group. You know you're going to see Rantanen. You know you're going to see Lehkonen and Makar. And I guess they're just going to take that risk. They're going to roll those dice. No Las Vegas pun intended, Jason. But they're going to roll those dice and say, you know what, we're probably going to face them either way. And they might have 30 or 40 more seconds of rest, but they're still Nathan MacKinnon, still Rantanen, still Lehkonen. They're going to be who they are. We just have to be who we are.
Gurdjieff's still in the goal crease with 1:58 left to go in this game. Seattle right on the precipice, their first playoff series, trying to get their first series win.
And what an incredible accomplishment it would be to take down the defending Stanley Cup champions. Bjorkstrand has 2 goals tonight on 6 shots, and I think he has a couple of uncredited shots as well, as he's hit multiple posts tonight, or at least a crossbar and a post. The post was on that last attempt, and there's another, make it another clean faceoff win. And John, after that faceoff win in their own zone, there goes Gurdjieff to the bench. There's an empty net, 1:45 to go in the third here in Denver, Colorado. The Avalanche have the puck right now. They're going to backhand this one along behind Grubauer. 34 shots, Colorado, 27 Seattle. The puck is to the near corner to Grubauer's right. Multiple players battling for it, including Rodriguez. A couple of Kraken are in there with it. I think we see that's Larsson as well for the Kraken, making Gourde and Larsson. Now the puck's held in at the point by Rantanen. It's head back to Rantanen. Now Rantanen, he's going to walk the blue line. Sends it to the near circle. It's held by MacKinnon. He sends it down low to the near corner. Now it's back to the blue line. A lot of traffic in front. Again, Gurgiev out of the net. Just over a minute to go here in the third period. Puck at the far wall. Now it's Compher. Compher goes back to the blue line. There's a shot through traffic. It bounces just wide to the left of Grubauer. Inside a minute to go now. 56 seconds to play. The puck's at the near corner. Larsson looking for it. And the Kraken cannot come away with it. It's held in at the far point. The near point. Now Rantanen, he can't control it. This one's going to be knocked up the near boards, chasing down and trying to negate the icing, but just being beaten by Makar is Bjorkstrand. Bjorkstrand's been everywhere, John, and he was just a step late. Makar gets the icing. Makar doubled over, breathing heavy. 44 and a half to play. We
know how tired Cale is. He's still one of the fastest men in the world, and even dog-tired still beats Bjorkstrand, who's been everywhere. And Jared Bednar says, let's go, guys. We're going to take our time out and try to find something with 44.5. I truly can't believe this. And once we do get to the end of this game, I'm going to take an extra couple minutes with you because I have a thought on the top of my head. And I think you'll know where I'll go to this when I start it. But let's watch the theater here for 44 seconds. And thank you to everyone that's been following along tonight. This has been fantastic.
Yeah, no question about it. This has been really, really special. And my goodness, John, of all the games that we have called, a few minutes ago I was talking about, I've really been a fan of the Flames since I was a little boy. And, the Seattle Kraken, I love them because they're my hometown team, but I don't let the emotion get in the way. Bull blank. That is, my heart is pounding right now, my friend. 44 and a half seconds to go. Timeout now over after being called by Jared Bednar and the Avalanche. You got to think there's a little more oxygen in the lungs of Nathan MacKinnon and the team. Look out, Seattle. Can they close this thing out? Can they find the empty net? Can they hold this down for less than a minute? We will find out starting about 2 seconds from now. Again, Gurgiev on the bench. Nathan MacKinnon, he is on the ice. Makar on the ice. Compher on the ice. Rantanen going to take this face off for the Avs. And the puck is dropped again.
Man, oh man.
Yeah, we're going to get a whistle here. John, I'm sorry, are you seeing something?
No, I'm just thinking with the Avalanche, I'm really upset because Rantanen throws it out to MacKinnon and they're set up.
They are set up, and Gourde shouting with, I believe, either the referee or his opponent. They're going to redo this face-off. Apparently, Rantanen went early, but they're going to do a face-off one more time. Same result, John. It's won by the Avs. Now this one's sent to the circle. There's Grubauer. He can't find the puck. It bounces to the near wall. 35 seconds to go. The puck is in the near corner being fought for by Larsson. Gourde in there with Rantanen. The Avalanche looking to dig it out. 29 seconds, 28. The puck comes out. It's held at the near point. Walking the point is Makar. Looks for a teammate. That's taken right there by MacKinnon. MacKinnon tries to go back to the blue line. Gourde trying to stick check him. The puck is off of Makar's stick. It's Bjorkstrand. He dives forward, but he can't get a clean shot on the empty net. He just pushes it back to the Avalanche end. 10 seconds, John. 8 seconds. Here come the Avalanche. They are onside. The puck goes back behind the trapezoid. 4 seconds, John. 3 seconds. 2, 1. The puck in the near corner. And this game is over. John, the Seattle Kraken have won Game 7 in Ball Arena by a final score of 2-1. They move on to the second round, and the upsets continue. We couldn't think, John, when this game started, that the upset would be bigger than the Panthers over the Bruins. Well, guess what? The defending Stanley Cup champions are out of the playoffs thanks to the Seattle Kraken.
You know what? You hit the nail on the head. As far as what the numbers say, you're in your first playoff series. You feel like Cinderella. It's the defending champs. I know about the injuries and some of the other things on the onset. At the end of the day, it's still the Colorado Avalanche. And through 7 grueling games, I know we're going to be getting the handshake line, but Seattle, I mean, they struggled a little bit in Game 6, but that really is the only game where Seattle looked a little bit mismatched. This has been unbelievable, and all the fans in the Emerald City should be absolutely rejoicing. I'm very happy for you, Cooper Hopkins, on that side, but the job's not done yet. We'll see what they can do against the Dallas Stars. I'll give Seattle as good a shot as anybody now.
Wow, I agree with you, my friend, and I I won't lie. The emotions are welling up right now for me. This is a really incredible moment. I'm so thrilled that this was the outcome. But you know what? Truly, I really believe this as I say it. Either way, if the score were flipped, the way this game was played by both of these teams was absolutely exceptional.
Yes.
And was represented at its best by not only both goaltenders, Girard and Grubauer, but by Bjorkstrand and Nathan MacKinnon of the Avalanche, the Kraken and Avalanche, respectively. The individual effort shown by both of those players, how close Bjorkstrand came to scoring that hat trick, sure, that's something that we were going to talk about. But that last play he made, sprinting through the neutral zone, John, at full speed, diving forward to kill additional time as the clock was expiring, just gets his stick blade on the puck to knock that thing deeper into Avalanche territory. That is the exemplification, I think, of the Kraken effort tonight, and they fully deserve this 2-1 victory. What an incredible accomplishment for a team in its second season.
Absolutely. Again, that effort that you talked about personified everything that Seattle has done all year, and Bjorkstrand looked as good as every bit of the superstars you could have for. He had 2 posts, could be 4 goals. And I honestly, I can't believe it. We're going to the handshake line, and the Colorado Avalanche go home after the first round.
It's astounding. It's astounding. You know what else? In the midst of it, these players and this coaching staff would have every reason to hang their heads, to let their disappointment show. They're defending Cup champions. But you know what? As Dave Hakstol, with something I want to point out here is you see on the TNT feed, the Colorado Avalanche celebrating their fans, and they certainly deserve to be. They were treated to something so rare and special last year as these Avalanche were lifting the cup here just a little less than a year ago. Now they head into their room having been beaten by a team that almost literally no one expected to advance. But I just wanted to point out about these coaches. Dave Hakstol, with a stoic look on his face, stepped off the bench and looked up into the rafters, looked up into the crowd, and looked down onto the ice surface and around the boards, and he was taking in this moment. What a huge accomplishment for him and his team. And Jared Bednar deserves all the credit in the world for putting a smile on his face, showing genuine joy for a colleague, shaking his hand near the benches before they met again in the handshake line, and then Jared Bednar greeting his former goaltender Philip Grubauer with a hug. That's class. That's the Colorado Avalanche. Just a wonderful moment.
Yeah, it was absolute class on the other end. I'm thinking about this historic day, and I also want to think about something that we talked about in the Stanley Cup Finals. But in this historic day, we can recap it just from the other day. It was Toronto Maple Leafs for their first series win since 2004. They take out the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Florida Panthers upset the Boston Bruins today, and the Seattle Kraken take out the Avalanche. So no Bolts, no Avs, and no Bruins as we go into the second round of this playoff series. Absolutely ridiculous on that end. But what I want to reference is this, as they're talking to Philip Grubauer, and very well deserved. He was a man on a mission tonight. He was exceptional throughout the whole series. But I know it was just this last year, maybe about a month or so ahead, when we talked in the Stanley Cup Finals, and we had those moments that we shared across. And that Game 6, when we watched the Avalanche lift the cup with all their stars, again, no Gabe Landeskog. He missed the entire year. But that just seemed like a team that was going to have destiny out in front of them. They get some injuries. We had a situation with Val Nichushkin that we haven't talked about that's been well documented throughout the news. They've been missing some horses. And within the first round last year, when Colorado had 2 sweeps, one in the hand of Nashville and one on the other hand of Edmonton, they ripped them apart. It's completely different. Seattle comes in. Again, they can play with house money. They've been good all year. They've been excellent on the road. Again, taking a couple wins at Ball Arena. They just look unfazed. And now what we have left to discover here, Cooper, is whether or not Seattle can make that same run that Vegas did about 5 seasons ago.
Yeah, that's going to be the narrative for sure. I think the Knights, they forged the mold, right? They sort of walked that path for a young team, younger than this one.
Yeah.
They did it right away. But the Kraken, have completely changed their fortune. Certainly not overnight, but to go from their first season, their inaugural year, to this is beyond any stretch of the imagination. The fact that they made the playoffs, which I do want to give credit. Media fans, I think a lot of people believe this team had some potential, to make some noise, right? That old phrase that we hear, quote unquote, make some noise, maybe bother some folks along the way, maybe take a game from the Avalanche, who inevitably will go on another deep run in the playoffs. Well, that was certainly not to be. The Seattle Kraken had other ideas, other designs, and we're watching them unfold, and it is just special to see it. And an incredible hockey game, and it just goes to show it doesn't need to be 5-3. You don't need 8, 9, 10 goals a game for it to be exciting. This was just a magnificent contest. I'm certainly glad about the outcome. But again, my feeling overall is just that this level of competition, the effort from the individuals that we saw and these teams collectively was second to none. And the Kraken are moving on, and we will see if they can continue. Just like the Leafs, as you mentioned, we'll see if they can keep this level of play, keep that motivation high, and maybe just keep knocking teams off on this path toward the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, Seattle's definitely going to have one of the toughest roads to hoe here in the sense of, because not only was the Avalanche, now it's going to be the Dallas Stars, and potentially on the other end, you could have a Vegas-Edmonton situation to be able to go into the Western Conference Finals, so about as difficult as it's going to get. But here's the thing from the backhand of what you expressed, and I want to throw this out there again. This was a 2-1 scoreline against a Colorado team that has all sorts of firepower. And if you preview it in the next few days in between Dallas and Seattle, you're going up against that first line of Rope Hintz, Joe Pavelski, and Jason Robertson. And you still have Jake Ottinger and then Miro Heiskanen on the back end defense. So for as good as Colorado is, maybe even Dallas is just a tick better in all facets. So it's going to be very interesting to me. Phil Grubauer played exceptional against his former team. And again, it's going to be a story for me because it's going to be Grubauer against Jake Ottinger. Will Dallas find the book? Did Grubauer just have a great series against his former team? Look, he certainly earned it. He played good through all 7 games, no doubt about it. But that is going to be the talking point going forward. And I can't wait to cover more of these games here with it because Dallas and Seattle, that's going to be good. The regular season was slanted one way for Big D, but I feel like that might change a little bit. Seattle's going to have to reverse those fortunes.
Yeah, I think so too. Maybe part of it's just me being hopeful, but I really do believe that, hey, it's one thing, like as you pointed out, for a goaltender to face their former team and have that extra layer, that extra layer of grit, saying, yeah, we're friends. We're friends in the off season. Yeah, we text each other, but not for this 7-game stretch. I'm going to show you that I'm better. And Grubauer certainly did that. He and what better time than in Game 7 to have what I think was his best game of the series, and there are multiple that we could choose from. But I would put tonight at the top of the heap. And I think that because he sustained it over an entire series against the Cup champs, the now no longer defending Cup champs. They still hold it, but they're not defending. So it will go to a new victor this year. We will see who. And I think that the Kraken, it's almost a devil-may-care attitude. It's almost we don't care who we face. It's the classic sports story, right, John? No one thought we could get here. No one thought we could do this. No one thought we could win 1 game, 2 games, 3 games, certainly not 4 games. Well, we just did it. And we're going to keep throwing it right back in everyone's face who didn't believe that we were this good.
I'm just going to give you another minute here, and then we will sign off on that side of it. I know you mentioned a little bit in the beginning of the broadcast, but I'll throw out these 3 teams again. Bolts, Bruins, Avalanche. Which is the biggest upset in your mind?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna leave the Bolts out of this one just to keep our chat streamlined.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost could flip a coin between the Panthers and the Kraken here, but I'm going to let the bias reign supreme. I'm going to say that the Kraken because they were playing the defending Stanley Cup champions, and really for that reason alone. Now listen, the Bruins' historic season, you could argue, you could legitimately and correctly argue, technically a better team by the numbers, by the records. The best team in the regular season in NHL history. For whatever reason, I think that the challenge that the Kraken were up against, I'm going to give them by a nose, the top spot in terms of the upset, but man, oh man. And I actually kind of, in a way, hope that you make the counter argument because that Panthers victory was really, really astounding as well. But what a night. Can you believe that both of these games we're talking about happened within hours of each other?
I know, absolutely. And the only thing I can say with the counter argument is Florida, again, they beat Boston 6 times. You talk about the amount of percentages, and you're thinking at that, and you say, well, that's no big deal because nobody's beat the Avalanche up until right now. So that's kind of the counter argument. That's no big deal to beat Boston 6 times. But when you have Matthew Tkachuk on the other end alongside Verhaeghe and Montour, that's incredible. And you get 2 historic upsets on the same night. So all that's left to figure out tomorrow is the last of round 1. And here's the interesting thing as we close this out. We didn't get a definitive result for one team clinching until game 5 between these 8 series. How great is that? But round 1's going to end tomorrow, and I'll be here about 8:15 Eastern between the Rangers and the Devils, and we'll see who's going to play the Carolina Hurricanes as we finish off round 1 tomorrow night.
Yeah, John, first of all, just again, Alec, Jason, thank you guys for tuning in and sticking with us through basically the entire game tonight. And the pregame, the postgame, the whole deal. Historic night, no question about it. Glad you were along for the ride. John, it goes without saying, always love to cover any game with you, regular season, postseason, you pick the teams, Flames, crap, whatever. Wings, come on. If they would only be better if we had the potential of a Wings Kraken final here. But it's just an absolute joy. You can hear it in my voice. I can't believe you still have a voice. So big credit to you, my friend. And I'm really looking forward to this round 1 wrapping up. And look, it's not a novel concept, but I agree with everyone who's saying it, and I believe it wholeheartedly. This is we've both been watching hockey for a lot of years. This is the best round 1 that I can remember, hands down. Yeah,
it's been so deep. Everybody's been good. You always make the point in the Stanley Cup playoffs that anybody can beat anybody, and that's certainly what we've seen tonight. Thank you, gentlemen. We will catch up with you very soon. I'll be in touch with Cooper, but I will see the rest of you on Monday night. So let's finish up this round 1 and have some fun with it.
You got it, pal. Great close, great game, great night. Thanks, everybody, and we will see you again soon.
Peace, everybody. Well, guys, that was a lot of fun, and a big thank you to Mr. Cooper Hopkins. As always, he was able to save my voice, a little bit of double dip for me between the Michigan Hockey Independence League playoffs for the Waterford Sharks up here locally. I was able to cover a couple games this weekend on that side and still hit the game 7 for everybody. He saved my voice for a couple periods, so I should be good to go. All systems go for Monday as far as the 8:15 puck drop for the Rangers and Devils. So if any of you guys still want to hang out for that, I'll be here Monday, and it'll be a couple days off before we get into the round 2 because I'm going to need a quick respite. So thankfully, Cooper was able to save me a little bit on that side. But I will see you Monday night. Thank you, Grayson. I appreciate it. Again, you feel pretty good on that side. I apologize to any Avs fans. I know that this is going to be rough, but I imagine that they're going to be back. It's just a shame. And between the things that happened with Nichushkin, that it just wasn't able to materialize. And some things in the news, he wasn't there. And Ian, I know X on the Twitter Spaces, he said he called it in between Florida and Boston. You should have taken your money to Vegas, my friend. You've been able to cash in that one big. So historic upsets today as the Bruins and the Avalanche go down alongside the Bolts the other day. The Toronto Maple Leafs, this has been a hell of a round 1. Let's finish it off tomorrow. See you then.